From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, from some place even higher. From the stars, I can touch, I can feel, I can hear and see. So much more than a fantasy. I can run, I can jump, I can dance and sing. Believe in yourself and do anything.
Believe in yourself and do anything.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, from some place even higher. From the stars, I can walk, I can talk, I can listen and learn as the wheels in my mind begin to turn. But I'll never forget what you've given to me. The power to touch, feel it, hear and see.
The power to touch, feel, hear, and see.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, from some place even higher. From the stars, I can touch, I can feel, I can hear and see. So much more than a fantasy. I can run, I can jump, I can dance and sing. Believe in yourself and do anything.
Believe in yourself and do anything.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, from some place even higher. From the stars, I can walk, I can talk, I can listen and learn as the wheels in my mind begin to turn. But I'll never forget what you've given to me. The power to touch, feel it, hear and see.
The power to touch, feel, hear, and see.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, from some place even higher. From the stars, I can touch, I can feel, I can hear and see. So much more than a fantasy. I can run, I can jump, I can dance and sing. Believe in yourself and do anything.
Believe in yourself and do anything.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, from some place even higher. From the stars, I can walk, I can talk, I can listen and learn as the wheels in my mind begin to turn. But I'll never forget what you've given to me. The power to touch, feel it, hear and see.
The power to touch, feel, hear, and see.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, from some place even higher. From the stars, I can touch, I can feel, I can hear and see. So much more than a fantasy. I can run, I can jump, I can dance and sing. Believe in yourself and do anything.
Believe in yourself and do anything.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place. from someplace even higher. I can touch, I can feel, I can hear and see so much more than a fantasy. I can run, I can jump, I can dance and sing. Believe in yourself and do anything.
Believe in yourself and do anything.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, from someplace even higher. From the stars, from the stars. I can walk, I can talk, I can listen and learn as the wheels in my mind begin to turn. But I'll never forget what you've given to me. The power to touch, feel, hear, and see.
The power to touch, feel, hear, and see.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, from someplace even higher. From the stars, from the stars. I can touch, I can feel, I can hear and see so much more than a fantasy. I can run, I can jump, I can dance and sing. Believe in yourself and do anything.
Believe in yourself and do anything.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, from someplace even higher. From the stars, from the stars. I can walk, I can talk, I can listen and learn as the wheels in my mind begin to turn. But I'll never forget what you've given to me. The power to touch, feel, hear, and see.
The power to touch, feel, hear, and see.
From within your mind, no one else can find the life that you inspire. From another place, not from outer space, from someplace even higher. From the stars, from the stars.
Hello everyone and welcome to another Tinfoil Tuesday. How are you all doing? I hope you're having a good one. We're in for some conspiracy bullshit today, so that's exciting. Let's see what I missed in chat. I think just Xandris with 31 months says puts on tinfoil hat with the number 31 written on it. Oh boy, my favorite time of the week. Thanks for 31 months. Get your bingo cards ready if that's something that you're interested in doing. We're just gonna jump into it. Where do I get the PlayStation mug? Probably just like Meyer, or... You know what? No, I think I actually got this at Spirit Halloween. I got it last year. Actually, I think I got it the same day. I got it the day that I think I was proposed to by my wife, because we went to Spirit Halloween that day. But anyway, I got this in a Back to the Future mug. Jake was streaming this early. That's weird. His sleep schedule's all over the place, though. Steve with a Q, thanks for 30 months. Will you get my takes on the Marvels? The trailer looked fun. Honestly, it looked like... I still haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, but it looks more fun than I've had with the Marvel movies lately, so I'm hoping for good things, but we'll see. Citosaurus, thanks for 25 months, says 25 months straight, keep being a rad tinfoil queen. I'll do my best. Speaking of which, we are on a hype train now, 93% to level 1. If we get to level 5, I'll do the tinfoil outfit. If we get to level 10, we do the maid outfit. You know the deal. Marvel movies are running out of steam lately. I don't know if, like, the pandemic fucked them a bunch, or if it's just a general quality control issue, but things have been not quite so good. It's unfortunate. And I still like them fine for, like, streaming or, like, getting a, you know, movie and watching it. I like the Marvel movies. They're okay popcorn movies, the newer ones. But they're just, I don't know. They're missing something the ones the first, like, 10 years did. Maybe we've just seen it. I don't know. Fenigami with 100 bits says for the foil. Puka, thanks for 300 bits. Appreciate it. 16% to level 2 on the hype train. I know they said they're cutting back on the number of films they're doing a year, which is probably good for Marvel. But, again, who knows? You watched The Doom That Came to Gotham last night? Interesting reimagining. Yeah, that's like Cthulhu-based, right? It's like Batman versus, like, eldritch horror type stuff. Did I see the batshit video you put in tinfoil submissions? No. I should actually go look. I will look at tinfoil submissions. Give me one sec. Power to touch, feel, hear, and see. Power to touch, feel, hear, and see. From within my mind, no one else can find a life that you inspire. Let's see what I've missed. What's that urine drinking thing? Let's see. Interesting. Thank you. Is this the link or was it a different one? No, that was you. So that's gotta be it. Okay. 16% to level 2 on the hype train. Close that. Let's watch this while we finish up the hype train.
Enemies behind killing, stealing, and destruction.
And by finishing, I mean continuing it on forever.
But how you portray that this has happened before. This has been happening. This is nothing new. The only thing that in our culture, it's actually now more than has happened before. I mean, it was the idea that
You guys remember Quado from Total Recall? This guy gives me Quado vibes, the guy on the left. Tucker White with 32 months says, darkness, imprisoning me, all that I see, absolute horror. Job hunting is a fucking late-stage capitalism is an existential nightmare, but y'all are thirsty for conspiracy shit, not everyday shit. Sorry, job hunt is not fun, which is why I stopped doing it a decade ago, and I just do this now. 44% to level 2.
that you push God away, and then other gods come and replace that, gods of money and ball and all of this stuff, and then sexual revolution comes in place of that. And
not
then,
sexual
of course, when you start
revolution.
having sexual immorality, guess what's going to happen?
What is sexually immoral about homosexuality? I've not had that satisfactorily explained to me ever. Is it just that they find it icky? Is it just that they think it's icky? JP Black says, speaking of good popcorn movies, the Mario movie was pleasantly fun. Plus, there's an interesting divide in the Chud world, as there's infighting with some saying it's woke and some saying it's anti-woke. The world is stupid.
But you're going to have unwanted pregnancies. What do you do with unwanted pregnancies? Well,
Yeet!
there's another god that comes in and he drinks blood. He wants blood. He wants killing and...
Isn't it weird that we live in a world of, like, smartphones and instantaneous communication, and then there's people who literally, like, think demons exist? Like, isn't this wild? Like, imagine you're watching, like, an episode of The Jetsons, and all of a sudden someone's like, oh, I'm really worried about demons. Like, what? This doesn't mesh thematically. Don't let the hype train die on a Tinfoil Tuesday, chat. 46% to level 2. There's only 30 seconds left. It must be saved.
Special of the babies. I mean, and then there's a chapter there. That's the most chilling chapter for me, because when you
Thank you, Jake Thoney, for gifting 5 tier 1 subs.
describe the sounds and the priests and the
getting us over level 2.
music that was involved in killing babies, and you correlated
Did you say music that was involved in killing babies?
that with what's happening in abortion clinics. I mean,
Yes.
it was scary. And then you
I heard Careless Whisper in I heard Careless Whisper in a Planned Parenthood lobby once, and now I'm deeply concerned that demons inhabit that song. Tucker White says, in regards to the guy on the left,
Oh my God! What's wrong with your face?
you came
yours truly, the One Pony, says, I just watched the new interview with Jake and Sarah they did about polygamy, and after hearing that guy named Dave, I just yelled to get his point across. It just sounded to me another person that just wanted him and Sarah to agree with Dave. Dave sucks.
back and start talking.
But I also... Do I want to say this publicly? It's fine. Jake and Sarah have been going real hard against Dave lately, which is fair enough. Dave is a piece of shit. But also, they seem to pick on his alcoholism a lot. Dave is clearly a fucking alcoholic with a lot of problems, and I feel like picking on his alcoholism is probably not great. Just in general. As praxis. I don't know. Like, there are so many shitty things to say about the man. Do you need to make fun of his fucking disease? Sky Comet says, chapter, is this a book? What moronic fanfics are you reading, gentlemen? The Bible. Skifazoa says, give me money, money, money now. Me a money needing a lot now. Yes.
Talking about the other side of this goddess that has to do with transformation. I think you call it transformer. Could you speak into that?
Yeah. There's another side to this Ashtora, this Ishtar, and the
Ishtar, you say?
And the thing is,
like the hit film?
It comes with, notice, it's all from the sexual revolution. So that's the goddess where you're going to get something else now. And
gay agenda on the bingo card?
In her, when I looked at her ancient tablets, her ancient inscriptions, she says...
What ancient tablets are you reading, sir? Do you read cuneiform?
I am a woman, I am a man.
Yeah, the god Ishtar is like, I don't know the specifics, but I'm like familiar that is like related in some way to gender ambiguity or like related to gender transformation in some way. I don't know the specifics.
It says in her hymns, it says, you, goddess, have the power to turn a man into a woman and turn a woman into a man.
Ishtar, if you're out there, like, hit me up. Like, I'll do whatever you want. I have a platform. It's not a big platform, but the people who watch me listen quite intently. So, like, I don't know, if you want me to tell them to worship Satan or whatever, if you just want to fix, like, my downstairs area, I'm pretty good with that. Also, like, an extra cup size wouldn't be terrible. Bittergrin, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs.
So this is the goddess.
Level 3 complete, 99% to level 4. Transphobia and satanic child abuse. Yes, sure.
Is the principality of the destruction of gender, androgyny, merging male and female, blurring female and male.
First name bunch of numbers says, true cuneiform connoisseurs only read complaints about E. Nasir. Hey, okay? That man's copper. Was it bronze or was it copper? I forget. I do love the idea that I really hope that I'm remembered in history specifically because someone writes a really mean, like, Yelp review of my channel or just a bad comment. That'd be awesome. 1% to level 5, almost to tinfoil time.
Blending men and women, merging them. And that is why we are all watching this in our culture right now. It is a spirit. It is not natural. And it is this exact principle.
If demons existed, they would be natural. Like, if demons existed, they'd be part of nature, so they're natural.
That is affecting everything. And the thing is that it couldn't happen earlier because it was too radical. So, the 1960s America, it was too radical for that. They just come out. But what happens is, as this sexual goddess, as this goddess of sexual immorality, as she gets entrenched in the culture, her darker work starts coming out. And we are in now the next...
Her darker work, like Skirt Go Spinny. Tucker White says, here lies Hannah, best known for butter nips. You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. Worse things could be on there. Moira Soma, thanks for gifting a sub. 19% to level 5.
Phase. That's why we're all dealing with this now. That's why it's affecting literally everything. And I'll give you an example. It says you grind away the masculinity of men. So now before we it's beyond, it's not just the sexual realm, it's every realm.
I don't know if my wife is listening, but does she want to grind away my masculinity?
Look what's happening in our culture.
Ellen Otto says the only remainder of Hannah will be her young her young something Hitler video, and future archaeologists will think it was child Hitler. Sky Comet says, Ishtar is 4,000 years old. She's older than your god, goddess of sex, fertility, and war. Show some respect. Although Gilgamesh and Enkidu would appreciate your insults.
You know, there was actually a war on manhood. There's a war on, you know, that she seeks to take men away from manhood, away from fatherhood, away from marriage, away from providing, away from all.
Do they think cis people are going extinct? I don't know. I think they don't like the idea that a hard gender binary, they're afraid of it not existing as a social concept or not being the standard. If society as a whole accepts, you know, trans people, non-binary trans people, like, it fucks with their entire worldview, because so much of their worldview inherently is tied to certain people should be treated certain ways because of their sex. That's what a lot of these people believe. Like, look at Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson a while back had a tweet that people made fun of that said something along the lines of, this world is so crazy, how am I supposed to know how to treat people if I don't know if they're a man or a woman? And people made fun of that, rightfully so, because it's like, what do you mean, how do you treat someone if they're a man or a woman? Just treat them like a person. But you gotta understand, people like this don't treat men and women equally. They don't see men and women as equals. They don't see them as the same species, virtually. Like, they see them as part of the same species, but they think there is a hard line difference between these two groups that must remain separate at all costs for social stability. So for them, the idea that, like, gender is mutable, that gender is a social construct, that gender isn't this innate thing within us, but it's something that we sort of perform and do, that's horrifying to their entire worldview. It is anathema to how they view how people should be treated. So I think that's a big part of it. It's destructive to the core of what they believe, and it's a hierarchical system based upon if you have a penis or not. Yours truly, the One Pony, says, how would science have gone so far if we lived in the world of free drugs and Harold Penisman? No, not Force Femme on the bingo card, I don't think. 20 seconds left in the hype train. Last chance to get us to level 5.
Away from women, you know, and so you know, because she grinds that away, she seeks to feminize them. She was actually the goddess who hated the patriarchy. She hated any kind of
I'm gonna guess no.
authority with men.
Jake, thanks for 300 bits. Cloud Wizard, thanks for 50. Thanks for level 4. So we'll get everything but one piece of the tinfoil.
Well, this spirit is so thick in our culture, you can cut it with a knife. It is so thick. You know, if a man acts masculine, they'll say that's toxic. If a woman...
No. Masculinity is not toxic. For the love of God, please. The concept of toxic masculinity has been around long enough that you should know this. Masculinity is not toxic. When we're talking about toxic masculinity, what we're talking about is taking behaviors that are toxic and saying, when someone calls you out on them, I'm just a guy, it's just a guy thing. It's like saying harassing women. Well, that's just a guy thing. We have no, it's just, what else do you expect? Guys being guys. No. That's toxic masculinity, because you're excusing toxic behavior with your masculinity. It's not that masculinity is toxic, it's that the way you are choosing to show your masculinity is toxic. There are plenty of ways to be masculine in completely healthy ways.
acts masculine, they'll say, bravo, that's wonderful. What is that? That is the spirit. It's crazy. Well, it also says she masculinizes, she defeminizes women. So her job is also to take women away from womanhood, away from motherhood, away
Womenhood.
from marriage, away from men. Well, we're watching it happen. It's, all this, she was a goddess who was female, but she had masculine.
Yeah, that would even out, so that doesn't really make sense. It would just be like role reversal, basically. So, what would the issue be if people were doing this consensually?
Qualities. And so she's seeking to make women now into her own image. That's what she now, but it goes further because what happens is now it goes into the sexual realm because she's the goddess of sexuality. So what happens now? She is blending the lines of male and female. So what would we expect to happen? Exactly what's happening right now. She had an ancient priesthood. Her ancient priesthood were men who walked around her temples dressed up as women, acting as women, talking as women, appearing as women in drag.
Based.
And so what happened is, actually, you know what stopped this? The gospel. We have a short memory. We don't realize this. So when you take God out, it is absolute.
I do not believe that the New Testament stopped Ishtar. Pretty sure there's a pretty big time difference between those two things, sir.
It's inevitable that this is coming back.
So
we could have predicted this.
So this goddess had priests that were men dressed like women. This is pretty much what you're saying, where this drag thing started a long time ago.
No, it's not.
Yes, exactly. Remember, it says she turns a man into a woman. She turns a woman into a man.
Ashley One Up says even their parodies aren't as funny as the real thing.
So this has gotten some attention recently, so obviously...
I can't play this because it's a whole scene from Glass Onion. Though I do like that movie. I can't play it.
Man, and she possessed that priesthood. And the thing is, and let me even go further. She not only dressed them that way, which we see in our culture. See, when you...
I gotta believe that there are a ton of, like, gender transformation, force femme erotica stories out there about being transported back in time and becoming a priestess of Ishtar. I don't know that to be a fact, but I feel like if you Googled it, something would come up.
See this returning to the culture. And when you see the culture...
Sky Comet says she's trying to make women in her own image. Wait, the goddess of beauty is gonna give me a makeover? Where do I sign up?
Celebrating it, the gods are back, and you are in very dramatic times. And the thing is that, because her priesthood is back. But the thing is that not only that, she also, remember Jesus said they come back.
Oh, thanks for the raid. Welcome, raiders. Thanks, Jake. Hope your stream was good. I'm Hannah. Welcome to Tinfoil Tuesday. How's it going, everyone? We're looking at all sorts of conspiracies today. Make sure you get your bingo cards if you'd like. If you don't know me, and you know Jake, we worked for a long time together over on YouTube. And today we're looking at conspiracy theories. So good stuff. I am a trans leftist streamer. I cover a whole variety of things: politics, conspiracy theory, debunking, sovereign citizens, all sorts of fun stuff. So now that you got your fill of corn, welcome to the foil zone. NetCirc with 26 months says happy Tuesday. Back at ya. Tea with Goblin says, I went to an exhibition in Canberra last month called Feared and Revered. It featured artifacts from all over the world of goddesses, demons, and female entities. Consistent themes were demons who emasculated men, hello Lilith, stolen children, or were just outright terrifying. The 8-foot Kali statue wielding multiple severed heads was a highlight. Sad men have always been obsessed with and terrified of powerful women. Grizzler Guy with 50 bits says, saved you a nickel.
Worse. In ancient times, she possessed her priesthood. But now she's seeking to possess an entire...
That happened to me, by the way. I know it was the salt lamp at Bed Bath & Beyond that turned me trans, but actually it was because a demon was inside the salt lamp, just chilling, and it transferred to me via my tongue.
Entire generation of children. She is using the very school system that once led them in the Lord's Prayer to transition them. And speaking of which, remember, she's the one who transformed. That word transformed. Well, not.
It's a prefix. Do you know how words work? Transformer. Like, it's a word that means things. Profane Priestess says, if you want a god who destroys gender roles, go with Guy Guanyin, the Bodhisattva of mercy and compassion. They are, in the Buddhist mythology, gender fluid.
Not only did she do it by clothes, it actually says that she actually had priests who were surgically transitioned.
Ah, yes. Ancient surgery in 2000 BCE. What could go wrong?
From men into, quote, women.
I'm worried about getting my surgery from someone just because, like, he's in his, 60s. You think someone wants gender confirmation surgery in 2000 BCE? We're like a decade off of trepanning at that point. It's less of a gender confirmation surgery and more of a pelvic trepanning.
And in fact, I put it in the Return of the Gods. There's a quote where it says, it describes the transition men dancing before the goddess, carrying scalpels, like as if they're celebrating their surgery. So this is where we are, and this has affected our entire culture. And there was an event that happened. Actually, we talk about New York City. So much begins in New York City with all this here. But there was an event that happened in New York City in 1969 that began the whole movement, the Pride movement, Rainbow movement, all that, altering gender.
Creepy Dot on the Wall, thanks for 21 months.
And on that night the night that it began, all the signs of the goddess started manifesting on the streets of New York City.
What are the signs of Ishtar that you believe have manifested on the streets of New York after Stonewall? I'd love to hear it.
We're gonna look at that in just a moment. But guys, I don't know if you got this concept. I want to encourage each and every one of you, get this book. You will be able to read it in few days because it's so captivating.
In a few days. This guy's a slow reader. Lennon Cat knows what to do, says he better not look too closely at Jesus. I hear that guy transubstantiates. Sky Comet says Ishtar is way better than Yahweh. Not only did the priests do drag shows, the temple of Ishtar had sacred prostitutes. Not to mention she fought a mountain, literally, and tamed it and picked a fight with the underworld goddess. Oh boy. Ereshkigal. That didn't go well, though. Doming a mountain sounds good.
And it's so real. You can take a
It's me. I'm the mountain.
newspaper and take this book and pretty much see the confirmation of what Jonathan is sharing. So pretty much he's sharing that this Ashtoreth, this goddess, she has a darker side to her. She's a transformer. And he talks about her priests who are pretty much, this is where this whole transgender...
They're talking about taking testicles off eunuchs. A thing they do for trans women sometimes. And historically, in Western culture, people who were castrated were considered a third social gender. They were allowed to touch women's hair, for example. I think a lot of that had to do with, being concerned that dudes with testicles would be rapey and do things which not unfounded. I think to this day they still prefer women. I'm not kidding. To this day they still prefer women work in morgues and as forensic pathologists, basically anything that has to deal with corpses. They tend to like women in those roles because men have a higher I'm not saying anything about men, I'm just saying statistically there is a higher instance of men doing bad things in that job. And that's not even a new thing. In ancient Egypt, they actually used to let the female dead decompose more before mummification so that male priests were not tempted, let's say. Not a good word for it. You know what I mean. Tea with Goblin says, necrophilia, crack open a cold one. Ew. The Insane Bookworm says, and that brings us back to the Y-hole issue. Look. Do you want to be blamed for everything you said when you were 20 years old? I'm just saying.
Hinduism. This will drag
That's deep lore, almost as deep as the hole.
stuff. All of that came from a long time ago. So this evil spirit, this evil god that is infiltrating our culture is actually behind all of this. And then what Jonathan alluded to that I want you to speak into, pretty much in your book, you reveal this mystery that exploded on the streets of New York City and transformed the American world as well as the culture. And you actually highlighted different signs that all took place right here in the United States. Can you speak into that?
Let's go. We'll see what he says a few of the signs are, and then we're probably gonna move on because we're only halfway through this and we get it. Neener is meaner. Thanks for 19 months.
Yeah. I'll give a little taste of it, and that is that one of the signs. It was called Stonewall, and this was a riot where they basically it was a same-sex bar, and the police raided it, and the people tried to storm it with the police in there. They actually set it on fire with the police in there. They tried to do it. And they tried to.
Based. Meaner is meaner. Thanks for 19 months. Sky Comet says darker side. Ishtar did have a crazy bitch side. She sicked a giant bull on the city because Gilgamesh refused to marry her. It's ancient gods for you. They're fickle. Stone Corbell says, I want everyone who tries to argue with these people on Twitter to understand that they literally believe that a goddess from 4,000 years ago is behind the LGBT rights movement of the modern day.
Storm the bar. Well, this began the whole movement that we know today as Rainbow and Pride and LGBT. All that began
Good.
there. Well, on that night, all these signs of the goddess appear in New York City. For
Like?
instance, one of the signs of the goddess when she goes to war is the lion or the lion's head. Right, the sign, I'll just say this, I won't go into detail. The sign of the lion's head appeared that night. One of the things that
Where?
there's something called the dance of Ishtar, that when she goes to battle, she
Is he not gonna expound upon that whatsoever? What does he mean? A sign of a lion head appeared? Where? Also, that sounds awesome. DM Trey says, I love mythologies, and one of my favorite things is that the bulk of the time, if they got made into movies, these thousands of year old stories would be called woke. Megabyte with 24 months says, I'm happy that I get to catch a live stream. I'm happy you can too. Welcome.
dances. In the middle of the riot, these men start dancing. They perform a dance in the middle of the riot.
Yeah, it's a bunch of LGBT people doing a fucking riot. You think they're not gonna dance? Oh, straight people. Lennon Cat says, no god or goddess can compete with Apollo's pettiness when he granted Cassandra the gift of prophecy until she turned him down, and then he also cursed her so that no one would ever believe her. Tea with Goblin says, Sekhmet is a lioness-headed Egyptian goddess of war and female wrath? So, based?
And as they dance, they start singing a song. The words of the song are linked to the ancient tablets of the goddess. I mean,
what are the lyrics? What are you talking about? This guy's a grifter. Like, I was like, he kind of just sounds crazy, but when it got to the lion head thing, grifter. I don't know, he's definitely anti-LGBT, but I think he knows all this is bullshit, and he just wants to make money on a book. Profane Priestess says, I mean, I think it's pretty badass that we queers have a 1,000-year-old warrior goddess in our corner. Right, I don't think that's true, but he makes it sound badass. Like, that'd be cool.
Word for word. I won't go into it, but amazingly so. One of the things is that in one of the ancient mythologies of the goddess, it said, first of all, the goddess always hangs around bars. She always she calls it her temple. She's always in the bar, the tavern, the inn. She's the god. Well, where did this whole movement begin? In a tavern, in an inn, in a bar. But also,
I don't think Stonewall was a hotel. It was a bar, yeah.
So at the same time, it says that this is.
It was one of the few people LGBT people could congregate, and then, it was illegal, so the police broke it up, but then finally people were like, no, fuck you, which was awesome.
Called Stonewall. Stonewall is the beginning of it all. Well, in one of her writings, it says you are the stone that breaks the stone wall. The Stonewall. It comes from her. And actually, and not only that, but there was actually a woman who began the whole riot. There's one woman. She's a mystery woman. But the woman was masculine. I mean, it was like the goddess. It was like she was like a channeler of the goddess. She
Bittergrin says, is he trying to talk me into worshiping Ishtar? Because this is a pretty good pitch. It's not bad.
was a woman, but she has masculine attributes. She triggers the whole thing. And the thing is, the goddess was called, in her hymns, is called the Great Storm. You are the great storm. God, Ashtora, or Ishtar is the great storm. Aphrodite, the storm. Well, the name of this woman was Storm. Or Storm.
You just said they're unknown. How would you know that?
Yeah. So, and now.
All right. I'm done with the grifter. Let's check the bingo card. Let's see. We have incorrect word origin is evidence because he doesn't understand that trans is just a general prefix that has a specific meaning outside of transgender. I'm just gonna say racist disbelief of historical achievements. I don't even, just that's the vibe. That's the vibe right now. I'm feeling it. Even if it's not just racist, it's something. It's something. Let's say that's bigoted disbelief of historical achievements. Forced feminization. Spurious symbology is evidence. I think that's it for page 1. Lennon Cat says, I wonder what he thinks transportation means. Yes, gay agenda. Is that on this page? Did I miss it? Gay agenda, you'd think I'd know where all these are at this point, but I don't. Throw me a number. Maybe it's on page 2. Yeah, it is on page 2. The gay agenda. Satanic, because he thinks Ishtar is satanic for some reason. Fenegagami says, Christians also believed that Lilith is the mother of all queer people and all demons. They believe that she is always on their side. Not gonna lie. Lilith sounds way more badass and reliable than Yahweh. Chudwatch and Tinfoil Tuesday thins. The line. Transphobia. Okay, I think that's it. Profane Priestess says, fun queer history fact, the Mafia actually did a lot of good work for us queers back in the day. The state wouldn't protect our communities, but, well, our money buys protection as good as anyone else. Let's just say the Mafia is a zealous advocate on behalf of its clients. First name bunch of numbers said... somewhere, if I can find it. How far back was this? Are you sure they went through? I don't see them anywhere in my list. Let me go back and see if I can find it. It was a Twitter link? Can you post it again? Post it again and I'll take a look. What are we going to watch next? Professor X will be recruiting you for the X-Men. Oh, I saw this shit. Had he not seen X-Men? Does he not know what X-Men is about? I find it odd that every iteration of AI art programs always seem to accidentally generate an accurate portrayal of the user prompt with one significant error. The hands, specifically the fingers. What about it? What about this? What seems like a simple error is possibly a nefarious admission to the truth to what AI actually is. When creating art, I'm often guilty of imparting my own characteristics, whether it be facial features or preferences on my work. This is almost always unavoidable for most artists, and it's what makes each artist's work unique to them. When I look at AI art constantly adding a sixth digit to whatever kooky design it is generating, it seemed funny until my mind put together some biblical and current accounts of men's encounter with giants, or Nephilim. Giants on the bingo card. This tale traces nearly every culture across the world. The Cherokee called them moon people and described them as a warrior race of cannibals who were 10 feet tall with 2 rows of teeth and 6 fingers and toes on each hand. The Choctaws, the Comanches, and the Navajo all mimic similar accounts. There's more recent accounts, so he thinks the AI is fucking giants. Lennon Cat says, Hannah, you know as well as anyone that right-wingers have no ability at media literacy. He undoubtedly thought the X-Men were the villains. It's just like, X-Men is like the least subtle allegory ever, in particular the movies. So like, whatever. Satanists against Trump! That's the name of this video.
Pedogate. Everyone against President Trump equals child sacrificing pedosatanists.
Wow, it kind of sounds like you just want to label all of your political enemies as something so awful that they basically aren't human anymore. That's a thing Nazis did, so that's fun for you. Any more contact with Peter? Let's take a look. See if he messaged me again. I think I just got to schedule a thing with him, because he said he'd come on. So I guess I'll schedule Peter and we'll see when he's free. What if we did it on 420? What if Peter and I hung out on 420 and got just baked? And talked about aliens.
They have to have abortion. They have to take your guns so they can sacrifice your children.
People having the right to have abortions is a good thing. So yeah, that's awesome.
Save the children. Pedogate. Satanism, Satanists equal pedophile, ritualistic abuse, and child sacrifice. Save the children. The world is run by a satanic child sacrifice pedophile cult.
Source.
At the highest levels, bankers, politicians, police chiefs.
You know you can just hate rich people for being assholes, right? You don't have to make things up about them. Like, I'm sure that there are plenty of people in power who are pedophiles. I'm not saying they aren't. Look at Epstein. I'm very aware. What I'm saying is, like, you could just hate, like, rich people for being a party to a system that's incredibly disenfranchising to billions of people across the planet. Like, that's fine. You don't have to make stuff up.
Royalty, Hollywood, celebrities all around the world. This is the real pandemic, is child trafficking. That's what's happening in the Ukraine. That's what Obama and McCain installed in the Ukraine. Okay, we all have to wake up now. Satanism is no longer hiding.
She's familiar that McCain was a United States senator, right? And therefore had no power over anything in Ukraine as an individual.
Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, Meryl Streep, they've been involved in the satanic cult for a very long time, but nobody knew that right out loud. We had to uncover that. Now,
Meryl Streep. Can I still watch Mamma Mia? Moira Soma says, sacrifice your guns so you can't save the children. Lady, it's the other way around. Guns are killing children in record numbers. Vast Lunacy. Oh, it's been a while, hasn't it? Vast Lunacy says, imagine making this complex conspiracy system but refusing to acknowledge systemic racism.
now they're just right out loud on Twitter. It's not
Clinton's on the bingo.
even hiding anymore. And they're hailing their Satan. They're calling themselves Satan accounts and Baphomet and you name it. Now, you need to understand these people engage in satanic ritualistic abuse, and that includes the violation of children to the most horrific degrees imaginable, beyond your imagination. The more they can defile a child, the more they can defile.
This is annoying to me. I don't talk about this a ton on stream, but like, as a victim of childhood sexual abuse, I fucking hate these people. I really don't like that they use that shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's a serious thing, and you're gonna just make it up and accuse people randomly of it because you don't like those people? Fuck you. Fuck you.
While God, that's the purpose of Satanism. They lie, steal, cheat, flip everything upside down, project, but that's what we're fighting. We're fighting evil. It's not right versus left, or Republicans versus Democrats, or whatever you...
Weird that you consistently only talk about Democrats, then. Lennon Cat says, these people think about the ways people can abuse children way more than could ever be healthy, for sure.
Parties are around the world. They've installed someone on all sides. They play all sides. They are controlled opposition on all sides. They're the Queen, the Pope. They have infiltrated everything. Police chiefs, prosecutors, you name it. The real pandemic is child trafficking and Satanism, and we need to declare it a death cult and a terrorist cult. Save the children.
What a goddamn psycho.
Hello, everyone. July 12th, 2022. Q is back.
Because of them, most people don't realize that predators are most likely to be someone close to you. It's stranger danger all over again. And I'm not saying, it's fair to make sure your kids don't just trust random people, but, like, statistically, your kids are most likely to be kidnapped or killed or any horrible thing that could happen to your kid most likely is going to happen to by a family member. Like, that's just how it is. The vast, vast majority.
And so am I.
Very few people, like, go around and just find random kids to kidnap. That's not how it works.
I just want to say that Q and I have made up. We're doing great.
I'm happy for you.
Can you feel it, you guys?
Q claimed as a source on the bingo card.
It's here. The storm has arrived.
Has
so
it?
I thought I would tell you about my Q plus 3730 story. I think I'm the only person that got Q plus. Q plus is President Trump. This is a good story because it actually verifies how, why, where it started that I was officially deemed by Q an ambassador to the Galactics. Okay? This is a good story, you guys. It also is the story of Jordan Sather being deep state. That's how I found out. He was always a bit suspect. We were on Twitter. I had many, many accounts that came and went because I was fighting hard. And I knew that Q was the Galactic Federation of Light. Like,
Standard
really
display
early on,
name.
because Cabin
You think you have a bingo? Can I see? Oh, no. No, you said bingo without a command. Do you think you have it? Can I see your card?
told us that. He's Pleiadian. They're giving us intel. The Galactics want us to know everything. They want us to know everything. So he said that, and listen, you need to understand that Q Army
Wait, did someone else have it first? I'm sorry. Let me look.
came coded to be activated by Q. I came coded to be activated by that intel because I am a
Oh, were you trying to do the command? Either way, anyone who thinks they have a bingo, send me a link to your card so
Officially.
I can check it.
Q's #1 girl ambassador for disclosure. Okay, here it comes. I'm going to read you something that Cavimer wrote to me after I got Q+. That's when they told me who I was and where I'm from and what my basic role and mission is. I knew it anyway intuitively, and I decided it anyway intuitively even before they told me. But when they told me, I was like, yeah, I know. But this will confirm it to you guys too. So we're fighting.
So did no one have bingo? Is that what I'm understanding? It was all a misunderstanding? Or no? Okay, false alarm. Okay.
We're fighting. I made a meme saying, and actually back then the meme was QAnon is the Galactic Federation of Light, because everybody just was calling it QAnon, then Q
They still call QAnon.
clarified it's Q. You guys are the Anons, I'm Q. So it's like, oh, I
Except Q has called themselves QAnon and the movement QAnon before. Doesn't really matter.
have to redo all my memes. Thanks, Q. So that's what I did.
Q made my memes not make sense anymore. Damn it, Q, you ruined my memes.
But back then it was QAnon is the Galactic Federation of Light headed up by the higher Pleiadian soul of John F. Kennedy Sr. I left out Abraham Lincoln in that meme. It's in the new meme because it's the same soul, twice incarnated, twice assassinated. He came to try to take down the deep state and to free the slaves and to, civil rights. I mean, this guy has a history. This soul, his soul's name is Oritq, Oritq.
She thinks that Abraham Lincoln, JFK, and Donald Trump are all the same person. At least I think. She thinks she's the reincarnation of Mary Todd Lincoln, so she thinks she's Q's wife. Gnome Pickles says, for a show of how much we can trust Q, the Rathmacult compound had a giant letter Q taped to their gate out here for a minute, so we know the caliber of people who agree with them. I wouldn't say that's word salad. That all made sense internally. Word salad has to be like, it has no meaning. It's just buzzwords. I understood her. It's just crazy what she's saying.
As far as I know. So, I think that's correct. That's what Calamar told us. So at any rate, I'm doing this, I'm doing it, and I'm getting accounts shut down on Twitter. I think it went to altogether 350 accounts on Twitter. Not just personally in my own name, but just many accounts. I had NRA-based law, I had all my work stuff there too.
So JFK stole the body of Donald Trump from its previous inhabitant? I guess? I don't know how she thinks this works, because Donald Trump was like a child when JFK was killed, right? Hold on. JFK, death date. 1963. Donald Trump birthday. Yeah, he was born. Donald Trump wasn't even that young. Yeah, I have no idea how she thinks this. I don't know.
My political work stuff.
He was a teenager, so I don't know.
So what happened was,
maybe she just doesn't know Trump is that old? I don't know.
I've just been working so hard to post this stuff. And also at the same time, in the very beginning of Q, when Q was first dropping, there was an Irish Anon guy on the boards down on 8chan. That's when it was 8chan. And he said, this information came up to Praying Medic on Twitter. And Praying Medic was like, oh, this is kind of weird. Q suggested this song. This Irish guy wrote, I'm getting married this weekend, Q. Can you recommend some music? And Q literally dropped Dink Greenmind. I'm going to attach my dance video to this video at the end of it, so you guys will know what I'm talking about. It's such an aggressive song. And in it, it says, there's a lyric that says, cover your head or end up dead, cover your head or end up dead. I laughed my head off. I thought, this guy asked for a song for his wedding, and that's what Q gave him. And because I'm a dancer, I knew right away I was going to dance to it. I mean, the first 3 seconds of it, I was like, I'm dancing to that. I can always tell right away. If a song doesn't start properly, it doesn't have me. So that song starts properly. And even though Praying Medic was like, I wonder why Q did that, I was like, I don't wonder, I'm dancing to it. But I was injured at the time, really injured. Still have it, really serious leg, hip, back injury that at least my whole leg became disengaged from my hip. I couldn't dance. I'm a trained ballet dancer, but I'm actually a freestyler, so I couldn't move my legs. I could just move my arms. So I was hesitant, and I was kind of bummed because I really wanted to dance to it the way that I used to be able to. And so eventually, I just kept nagging me to make the video. It took me quite a while, a number of months, almost a year. Finally,
I wonder if her and Gina have ever danced to the same song. Because if they have, I could probably sync them up and figure out. We could do a conspiracy dance-off, and we could vote on who wins. Because she does have dancing videos on here. She does it all the time. Oh, God.
hello everyone, Michelle Tiller here from NRA Space Law. I am the chief of ERBL Canada, ERBL Tribe. And I just want you to know that even though it's October 21st, 2022, this is not a costume and should not be taken as a costume. I really am the chief. As you can see, I'm even wearing the shirt to prove it. And joining me today is my political partner and husband/ex-husband.
I apologize. This lady's racist, if you don't know. basically, she wants to end any sort of protections, the few that exist for Indigenous peoples in Canada. Because, I don't know, she thinks it's racist or something. Mr. Whiskers says if they don't sync up, you can still make them have a dance battle. I guess that's true. Gregory Term says, husband splash, ex-husband, what? I don't know. I assume that was supposed to be slash.
Best friend, really the expert on this subject in all of Canada, one could say. I know he wouldn't, but anyone else would.
Wanted to open a bank account. And as part of our...
He's a fucking loser. It does say slash? Oh boy. I'm doing great today. Sorry, I'm trying to, like, I'm able to talk, but I just have, like, a weird thing today. I'm not on the ball. I don't know why. Alright, let's move on from this lady.
So today's the 6th. It's April 2023. And it's almost Easter, apparently. And a lot of people I know that are completely pro LBGTQ, all that other stuff. And
I'll count that for LGBTQ, blah, 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 on the bingo card. There's a bunch of other letters. Good night, Venon.
pro anything the television recommends, because nobody wants to be disliked or nobody wants to be talked about. Apparently we aren't those type of people. We actually have our own will. And I'm 9 miles out in the woods, and here comes a dude with a dog. I think in order to do the new
Black's Law Dictionary request. I don't think I'm going to do Black's Law Dictionary request on Tinfoil days, just because with bingo, there's already a bunch of slowdowns, and I feel like that slows it down a little bit. So I'm not going to do Black's Law on Tinfoil days.
World Order. Here comes the dog. Really? Okay, a dog, a 2-year-old black lab, I believe, just ran up to me. Just kind of cool, actually. At any rate, it just dawned on me, kind of, that the New World Order was brilliant in bringing out social media.
New World Order on the bingo card?
Thumbs up. Everything is split second. Remember I told you social media is multifaceted like a diamond. Many faces, many different things that it does. Many times we told you a false flag event was coming because they would put out... That's a wood duck. Hear it? See it? At any rate.
What do you even do if you go and sit out in the woods? You just sit there? Do what? You just sit there? I have severe ADHD. I don't know. I can't do that. If I want to sit there and just hate myself, then, like, I could do that on the couch. I don't need to go out in the woods for that.
Many times, lots of YouTubers have caught on to the fact that a potential false flag event was coming up, and then suddenly it would change.
I grew up in the woods. I grew up in the middle of nowhere with, you know, woods in the backyard that I could go in whenever I want. Maybe I just don't care. I've seen it. There's fucking trees. There's trees, there's leaves, it's dirty. I don't care. Marcus Drake says, well, based on the porn I've seen, you're constantly assailed by lemon-stealing whores. That was in someone's backyard. That wasn't the woods.
It's
I think.
Because I've told you this before, they use social media to gauge our reactions instantaneously, something they could never do before, which is pretty amazing.
Never understood the allure of the woods, just makes me think of bugs and murder. Yeah, I don't like camping.
But
in fairness, my dad always made me used to go camping, and I fucking hate him, and camping trips were awful, so...
The other thing that it does is it makes people super sensitive into being accepted. Everybody wants a thumbs up. Everyone wants to be liked. Nobody wants thumbs downs. As a matter of fact, YouTube took thumbs downs away. You know what I mean? But it was brilliant because with all the conspiracies that are playing out and that have played out, people didn't want to listen to them, even if it was right in their face. For instance, you don't have COVID, you get the COVID shot, you get the second shot, you get the third shot, and then magically you get COVID.
Not magically. You could catch it. It'll be much less severe. But, like, I've been vaccinated and boosted, I don't even know how many times without looking at my card that's in my purse. But I'm fine. I haven't had it. But if I caught it, that's fine. I'm vaccinated. It'll prevent it from being a severe case, hopefully. I'm under no delusion that vaccines are 100% effective at keeping you from getting a disease. But if you do get it, your body will be trained on how to fight it effectively. That's what a vaccine does. Ashley One Up says, I almost want an alien invasion to happen, to see one group of people scream false flag, take off your masks, and a second group throwing holy water while screaming demons be gone. Tea with Goblins says, ritual sacrifice to the ancient forest gods? Run screaming, woad covered and mead drunk, construct a man out of wicker and fill it with prudish yet flammable cops. Jesus.
You know,
Phallic symbol.
seems like that would be a big red flag. People just glossed right over it. Making it so people they had to be accepted by everyone else was brilliant, and social media helped them do that.
Oh no, people accepting other people, the horror!
Certain people like myself didn't care. Just didn't care, did not care, you know what I mean?
Sky Comment says false flag operation, yeah.
I've had my front tooth fixed like 4 times, and the last time it came out, I didn't care. Because I wanted to make sure that I never turned into one of those people on YouTube that's, I'm an influencer, I'm important. The comments say I'm a genius. The comments say that I'm right.
This video has 250 views. I don't think you're an influencer.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I hate that word anyway.
Was never one of those people ever, for the good, bad, or indifferent. But
Alice
I'll tell you
McGee, thanks for following.
When Jesus returns, his kingdom is not of our earth, right? That's what he says.
Lennon Cat says, Sir, don't worry. No one will ever tell you that you are right.
Kingdom is not of your earth or this earth. So, when Jesus returns, with all of his saints...
That's not a reason to have bad dental hygiene. Agreed. Speaking of which, I know I've told you guys all about my tooth pain and how I haven't been to a dentist in years and years, and I have, like, tooth pain and my mouth hurts all the time. I have a dentist appointment scheduled for, like, a week from now. So that's good. If you wanna help, donate to the maid outfit goal. The consultation is free, but I know I'm going to need work after that. So.
It's
Card Shark, thanks for 20 months, says we have twins apparently. Oh.
going to look like, for most people, an invasion.
I'll think of some names. Jamie says Snipe becomes a stream boss.
Because it's astonishing how many people do not believe in scripture anymore, but they believe anything that science says because of things like this cell phone that I'm holding, or the fact that we're on Mars with a remote control car, which is absolutely laughable and ludicrous, but people buy it hook, line, and sinker. No,
because it's true. Your last dentist is a QAnoner who ran for school board. Is that why they were your last dentist and not your current dentist? Cloud Wizard says the x-rays cost a bunch. Yeah. Charlie Knight, thanks for a bunch of bits for the teeth.
No problem whatsoever at all. It seems like on their way to Mars, they might have noticed all the UFOs surrounding our Earth and the motherships. They're telling us that aliens are coming because when Jesus returns, they're going to say it's the bad guys. Do you see what I'm saying? And nations...
No. Okay, so basically what he's saying is he thinks the government is going to hide the rapture and Jesus' return by claiming Jesus as an alien. Okay.
We'll rise up together as one.
Who's saying aliens are coming? Conspiracy theorists are under the impression that the vast majority of the population of the world not only believes in aliens, but is every moment expecting an alien invasion at any moment. I do not know why they believe this. I think it's because they see, like, you know, aliens are in pop culture, so they think that people are brainwashed to think that Earth is going to be invaded by aliens. I don't know anyone who believes that other than conspiracy theorists, but whatever.
And try to fight. They won't win. But it's just going to be ridiculous. It's amazing. What they've done is incredibly. There was a good plan. But when you're getting wisdom and guidance from fallen angels that were actually standing there watching creation being created, I would imagine you gain a lot of wisdom and gain a lot of knowledge. Because, I mean, just as humans, we're pretty smart, for the most part.
Sky Comment says, toothpaste is less expensive than a root canal. Practice good oral hygiene. This has been a public service announcement. I brush my teeth twice a day and stuff. I just haven't been to a dentist in like a decade. D with Goblin says, alien invasion conspiracies for when you really need to jazz up your religious xenophobia. And I floss, chat. And I floss. Lily Lovestuff says, my current dentist is great. She's so sweet and seems like such a genuinely nice person. When I went in there with a mouth that was completely fucked up after 10 years of not going to a dentist and didn't shame me like the last one, who was an ass even if him and his twin brother were hot AF. And being rude about it is what made me not go until I cracked a tooth in half. Ooh.
Not smart enough to keep our mouth shut and, you know, go with the flow, but just never was my cup of tea. But that's their plan. That's their plan. That's why all of a sudden UFOs are absolutely everywhere. Just no big deal. There's motherships. No biggie. No biggie. It's just normal. The funny thing about all this that just gets me is all the things the government told us were completely and totally lies. They just weren't true.
Card Shark says, we shall name our twins Roger Davis and Mark Cohen.
There were ridiculous conspiracy theories are now coming out of their mouth saying, yeah, well, yeah, we knew about that. National safety, national security, safety.
I don't even know what he's referencing there.
It's sad. It's sad. But I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there. Having a rough couple of weeks, so hopefully I can finish my truck up this weekend and head out of here. When my time comes, I don't want to be at home. Put it that way. I'd rather be alone in the woods, like right now. I do not want to be resuscitated. I do not want to be brought to a hospital. You know, Richie from Boston, terminated conspiracy theorist YouTuber, dies of COVID. You know what I mean? Because you know they will. And I don't want that.
I mean, if you caught COVID and died, hydrate.
I don't want that at all. I'd rather be eaten by a bear or a Sasquatch or something to that effect.
It's Bigfoot on the bingo card.
But I've been on my feet all day. I've been working my butt off all day. And I just brought that thing in 9 miles. And it's almost dark. It is 10 past 7 Eastern Standard Time. And I will ride out of here in the dark. It's cool because these trails, well, they're hard to see. They're not exactly official trails. But with my headlamps on my mountain bike, it's crazy because bats come right out of the trees. Like you'd never see them in a million years unless they came right out of the trees.
This guy is what my family would call delusions of mediocrity.
Oh, I mean, unless you were riding at night. No, never mind. That's what other YouTubers are to me. Quacking Canadian geese. They're absolutely everywhere. You have to put up with them. They ruin everything and they don't shut up. And they follow the leader. I only follow one leader. And speaking of that, I've been asking God for some specific direction lately. And it seems the harder I ask for like a dream or a vision or something to that effect, every time I do that, I end up having a dream about immoral behavior. which is crazy because I don't dream like that. But every time I ask,
But you do dream like that. You just said every time, meaning that whatever this is recurring dreams? Is this man having gay dreams? Fast Lunacy says, after being on your feet all day, hiking 9 miles into the woods sounds like torture. He biked.
God to like just guide me. Tell me what I just want to finish God's plan for me before
I like that God keeps... My headcanon is God. I don't believe in God, but in this headcanon, sure. In this headcanon, God is telling him, what you need to do is go and live your life and be a fucking rad bear and bang as many hot twinks as you can get consensually. But he's just like, no, I refuse.
I leave this mortal coil. Every time I ask specifically,
What's the weirdest sex dream I've ever had, you say? Well, chat, that's a good question. One time, I had a sex dream that I had sex. You guys remember Chuck E. Cheese? You guys know, like, how they had, like a play place that's all tubes and stuff? I once had a dream that I had sex in the Chuck E. Cheese tube.
I get the exact opposite in a dream.
Everyone involved was an adult. It was not a Chuck E. Cheese full of people. It was an empty Chuck E. Cheese. For the record. Lennon Cat says, everyone else just follows the leader, not like me. I'm a free thinker. It's just a coincidence that I agree entirely with random people on Facebook.
And I can only imagine that would be the quote-unquote enemy.
Was Peter involved? This was years ago. I only remember the dream because it was so fucking weird that it was like in a Chuck E. Cheese tube. As someone who'd done that, I don't recommend it. Did you work at a Chuck E. Cheese or a McDonald's or something with a play place? Yeah. Seems gross. That seems disgusting. Quite honestly. Like, I have a nostalgia for being a kid and, like, crawling through those tubes. I remember that, but you know how fucking disgusting and, like, bacteria-laden those things must be? Just kids crawling around on them with their disgusting fucking kid spit bacteria hands? Gross. Jake Thoney says, were you having sex on a pizza? I was not.
Could just be nothing. I could just be making all this up. But I'll tell you what. Every day that goes by, every crazy conspiracy theory I ever threw out there is coming to pass.
Like what?
The Dark Winter, I believe because so many of us went after that, they had to change it up. But they still haven't stopped. Every single solitary day, they're killing people and this planet, this Earth, this footstool of God. They're destroying creation. And that's how I ended up starting up on YouTube in the first place. Chemical trails coming from airplanes. The government controls the weather. The government told us the news it was going to be 70 degrees today. It hit 41 because there's never any sun. See what I'm saying? At any rate, I gotta...
HARP weather control on the bingo card? I think that's the implication of chemtrails, too. So let's say chemtrails and weather control. Ashley One-Up says, better than my dream of taking my girlfriend into a quiet room for some titty time during a family gathering. Lily Love Stuff with 45 bits. Thank you.
Put my hoodie back on and get ready to get out of here. Say a prayer for everybody. Even the people you don't like. I'm out.
Should we just start putting lithium in the water supply? What does lithium do if you're not psychotic? Is it fine? I'm so concerned about so many people.
How and why the atom bomb and nuclear disasters being harmful are a propaganda hoax and a fear tactic. The original date and circumstances of the original atom bomb in 1945 at the tail end of World War II is first and foremost very suspect.
Are you under the impression that the first nuclear bomb to ever go off was the one we dropped on Hiroshima? And then shortly after Nagasaki? No. Those were not the first ones. They're the first ones and last ones, luckily, to be dropped on civilian populations as of April 11th, 2023. But, not the first ones. They tested them first.
To come up with this technology just in the perfect time. Allegedly, the atom bomb was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Expert analysis of bomb sites examined both locations and found nothing notable any different than typical firebombed or carpet-bombed cities.
How about the high radiation? Because I'm pretty sure that's a pretty big thing. And all the people with radiation burns, and the people who died of radiation, and the fact that, you know, an entire city was flattened with one bomb. That's impossible to do with a firebomb. Sky Comet says, it's not safe in unregulated amounts. It can cause poisoning and kidney failure. I take lithium. They're very careful to monitor the levels of it in your blood. Do not put it in the water. All right. You sold me.
Noting no extreme force was present and fragile things like light posts, various trees, signs, and buildings stood exactly like conditions of firebombed cities. The Red Cross Hospital was in the impact zone and was unaffected, full of patients.
Okay. I'm very much doubting it was unaffected, but the fact that it's still standing, well, impressive, is not indicative of anything other than this building was constructed differently than the other buildings, probably. It's a hospital? So I'm imagining they built it to be more robust. Ashley One Up says there are still people alive with radiation burns from Hiroshima. Overthought says people's ability to deny the horrors of their creations, such as nukes and the Holocaust, is both fascinating and terrifying. Something in the back of our minds doesn't want it to be possible for these actions to happen. Yeah, it's a fucking tragedy.
There were details of which bombers actually firebombed both cities listed, and all details can be found.
Japan had a lot of wood construction back then. That's actually a good point.
In my video called Tricked Again, Hiroshima was carpet bombed. With expert analysis.
Okay, but here's the thing. It wasn't. Like, one of the key reasons that they were able to get over Hiroshima was because it was a single plane. If it was like a fleet of planes, it would have been much more easily noticed, right? That was what made it terrifying, the idea of the atomic bomb, is the idea that a single plane or something along those lines, this is before intercontinental ballistic missiles were a thing. So we're talking about a single airplane, a small craft, sneaking into a country, undetected, and dropping a bomb anywhere they want that could wipe out a city. Hundreds of thousands of innocent lives extinguished in a moment. That's the horror of this, is that it took one bomb to destroy the lives of countless people.
And detailed government documents as well as expert analysis from that time. The truth is, the atom bomb is not real and was used as a fear tactic of propaganda.
Can you imagine this guy going back to like the 1950s and trying to say this to literally anyone's face? Imagine how just nuts this is that he believes this.
World War II, and the idea has been perpetuated by governments who had already worked in unison to perpetuate fear to humanity in general.
Then why hasn't the United States invaded North Korea? Because the only thing keeping North Korea's government up is basically the fact that they have a nuclear arsenal. Like, not a great one, but they do have nuclear capabilities, right? At the very least, they could set off some dirty bombs. Let's say that. So the idea that the United States would act the way it does internationally without mutually assured destruction, or at least mass destruction via nukes, doesn't really make sense. Chromatic Cuttlefish says Japan is an earthquake zone. Substantial buildings like hospitals are built to withstand them. That, of course, makes sense. Lampita says there's devastation in America, too. Navajo lands are still ravaged and the water undrinkable from the uranium mining that happened from the Manhattan Project and beyond. Yeah. Marcus Drake says, what I don't get is we admit to all the World War II carpet bombings we actually did, so why not this one? What's even the point? I'm not sure.
We have also proven the United States and USSR had worked together throughout the 1950s.
No, they did not. I'll stop you right there. The United States and USSR did not work together during the 1950s. It's kind of one of the defining traits of that decade, is the Cold War. Not that it was the only decade the Cold War was happening, but, you know, it's a prominent decade in the Cold War. It's the decade of, like, McCarthyism and the intense version of Red Scare that you picture in your head when you think of Red Scare stuff. And space race.
To fake the space race and creates fake space propaganda. This is nothing new that governments work together. The Cold War and fear of total annihilation from a nuclear missile attack are another myth to implement fear and control.
Nope.
The next issue is the fear of nuclear meltdowns and toxic radiation causing deformities. First, men were on the ground at ground zero.
Okay. I can't deal with more of this. I'm sorry. I thought I could. It feels a little similar to my policy on, like, 9/11 conspiracies and Holocaust denial conspiracies. Once a large amount of people have lost their lives, it kind of gets rough listening to it. What else we got? Urine-drinking anti-vaxxer is denied his dinner with Donald Trump Jr. and Dad at Mar-a-Lago. Hydrate. DM Trey says the test sites here in Nevada are super interesting because you can find things like destroyed suspension bridges and bank vaults just sitting in the desert. Super fascinating. Anti-vaccine leader Christopher Key has long sought to confront one specific idiot, former President Donald Trump. He almost got his wish. Key holds a deep grudge against Trump for, as he put it, releasing a, quote, bioweapon onto the world. That bioweapon is just the COVID-19 vaccine, which has saved, by some estimates, tens of millions of lives. But that hasn't stopped Key from taking extreme measures to advocate against the vaccine. Key is so adamant that the vaccine does harm, in fact, that he drinks his own urine. That strategy, known on the far right as looping, is supposed to cure COVID-19 symptoms. Key has long urged his supporters to follow his lead and collect their morning urine to drink throughout the day. As noted in a Reuters fact check, there is no evidence that sipping your own urine can magically cure you from a case of coronavirus. Tea with Goblins says the UK tested nukes in a remote part of South Australia called Maralinga in the 50s and 60s. They told the local indigenous people that there would be no risk to their health. They lied. Of course they did. Sky Comet says, I can own this idiot with one video. Drops Mike. This is the website for the... Oof. Oh, footage of the atomic bomb. Yeah. I would imagine he would just say it was faked. Oh, yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes on trikes. Yikes on bikes on trikes. Oh, boy. While Key has plenty of foes, Donald Trump, Democratic state governors that he seeks to place under citizens' arrests, even Whole Foods grocery stores everywhere, it's become something of his life's mission to confront the former president. So when tickets went on sale for a $500 evening with Donald Trump Jr. and former congressional candidate Joe Kent in Palm Beach, Key leapt at the chance. It was Key's understanding that the former president might drop by the event, as he's been known to do, and Key would finally have a chance to confront Trump, and either way he'd get a chance to challenge Don Jr. Open bar and hors d'oeuvres provided, the invitation said. He didn't partake in the hors d'oeuvres, he's on a liquid fast, and he didn't end up getting a chance to confront Don Jr. In the midst of an indictment chaos back at Mar-a-Lago, the fundraiser only elicited a short appearance from Don Jr. Supposedly his father got indicted today. We were supposed to do a lot of one-on-one time, Key told the Daily Beast. Nobody really got to talk to him at all because he was in and out. Key did walk away, he thought, with another chance to confront the former president's son. He placed an $11,000 winning bid to have a private dinner with Don Jr., once again with the hope that the former president might drop by. We encourage you to request a date when President Donald Trump is staying at Mar-a-Lago, as it is his habit to visit dinner guests, and you may have the opportunity to greet him, a March 31st letter sent to Key said. But apparently, Trump World found out about Key and his history. They canceled the dinner, and Key was once again denied his opportunity. In recent months, Key has taken his QAnon beliefs and claims that he is a sovereign citizen to new heights. The latter claim, which essentially involves a far-right theory that one doesn't have to follow laws, has been bolstered by Key's claim that he doesn't drive his car so much as he travels, a pointless distinction that Key believes means his car isn't subject to normal road rules because it's a, quote, wagon with wagon wheels. The anti-vaccine leader, who calls himself the vaccine police and wears a police-like badge, also parades around with a flamethrower, though he has no authority. Kent ally Matt Brainerd and a Don Jr. spokesperson didn't return to the Daily Beast's request for comment. The now-canceled dinner between Key and Don Jr. is a near miss for the Trump campaign, which has long struggled to keep extremist Mar-a-Lago visitors at bay. Most notably, last year, Trump welcomed disgraced rapper Kanye West and white nationalist Nick Fuentes, which drew nearly universal condemnation from Democratic and Republican lawmakers alike on Capitol Hill. But Key was apparently too wild for Mar-a-Lago. Quote, I believe that they want and did the research and they found out who I was, and the last thing they wanted me to do was to sit down with Donald Trump Jr. and his father, Key told the Daily Beast, while adding he was going to go after both of them about the bioweapon. He knows my stance on adrenochrome, he concluded. Adrenochrome on the bingo card. Fenekigami says first Godzilla exists as a character as a representation of Japan's collective trauma of the A-bomb. Second, normal carpet bombing doesn't burn ashen silhouettes into cement from people being atomized by the heat of the bombs like what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They were literal ghost cities. And Jamie says, fun fact, Joe Kent is the, in my opinion, Nazi who gave Democrats a win in a conservative congressional district near me last year, and he's running again, too. What in the world? Good Lord. The link, I don't even, why? Chuck E. Cheese was not involved in this, to be clear. Okay, what else we got?
What's up, Facebook and YouTube? Much love to everybody. I got some good news. My YouTube account is off restriction, so I can now make longer videos. So this will be the first of one of those videos, and I'm gonna be dealing with a little Freemason symbolism today, particularly the arch and the square plane. Now these are two things that we always miss, if you ask me. We tend to miss this in a lot of Freemason art and a lot of symbolism. We tend to miss the most simple, the most consistent.
Oh, holy shit. Wait, what? Someone gave me a fuck ton of money. Hold on. Vast Lunacy tips $155. Jesus Christ, thank you very much. Mr. Whiskers says, get those mouth bones shined up good with a $10 donation. Oh my fucking god. Thank you. That'll help with the dentist for sure. Oh my. Thank you. Oh, you guys are so generous. And we're almost to the maid outfit goal for the month. If you missed, we do, every time we do a level 10, we do a maid outfit stream, but also, I have this up as like so it can slowly be chipped away over the month as like a bonus. If this gets filled over the month, the day after we'll do a maid outfit stream. So, yeah, Vast Lunacy's nuts. Thank you, Vast Lunacy. You're always so fucking nice. Ugh.
Distant aspect of all Masonic
Hydrate.
art, and that is the arch and the square plane. Also, we tend to miss the fact that the highest degree you can reach
Does Chuck E. Cheese count as Hannah mentions cheese? No, and neither does me answering that question.
in Freemasonry is the 33rd degree, and that is an arch degree. So there are what's called arch degrees, which are your high levels. And it also might be important to keep in mind that all of your astronauts are Freemasons, and most of
all of them
are arch degrees. The first astronaut in space, in fact, was an arch degree, and we'll be talking a little bit about him later. But we're going to start this by looking at a little Masonic art. And what we want to pay attention to is the arch and the square plane.
Can we get a reminder of the list of everything Masonic? It's not just Masonic, it's anything that's like cabal, anything that they basically say is, you know, evil. Let me get the list. Orange, 33 butterflies, the sun, 5 pointed stars, pyramids, eyes, the color blue and gold, the colors black and white, covering one eye, the rock on hand symbol, crowns, spirals, the moon, quote, magic circles, Shakespeare, Freemason stairs, diamonds, big cat print clothing, so like if you had, you know, like a leopard print shirt or something, lightning, Saturn, cages, pizza, backwards words, mask, arches, heart symbols, peace signs, red shoes, the number 666, pine cones, tiny cars, the colors red and blue together, baths, winking, chess pieces, brick walls, backwards ladders, and owls. That's our list right now. These are all Freemason symbology according to people that I've watched.
It's very common not only in Masonic art and symbolism, but in a lot of ancient cosmology. Now, this is very deep because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of being a Freemason is understanding cosmology and understanding the nature of the universe. This also explains why most of your astronauts are Freemasons. Now, a lot of people don't understand what exactly the Freemasons are hiding. Hopefully, we can solve that for you. Now, you got to understand something about Masons. All of their science and all of their understanding comes from the ancient people. Let's start here before we get into any of the symbolism. I want to explain to you where this stuff come from.
Clear Cat with 50 bits and a link.
Because it didn't originate with them.
Ancient wisdom, yeah.
The first Masons we know come from Kemet, and they were the pyramid builders. But what's important is the cosmology that these ancient Masons had. Because to understand that is to understand the secret that Masons are hiding from us today. So Masons get this science and this knowledge from ancient cultures, particularly cosmology. You got to understand that ancient cultures didn't segment their studies like we do today. So you go to school, you may have a class for math, one for reading, one for science, and nothing for God. You go to church on Sunday for that. So everything is segmented. Back in the ancient society, particularly in ancient Kemet and a lot of Nile Valley civilizations, where a lot of this science originate from, they only had one subject, and that was the study of everything. You see all of this.
That's not a very good way to teach people things, because things are different subjects, and it makes sense to teach them separately. JP Black says, at this point, we just need a short list of items that aren't Masonic cabal. True.
Science and reading and mathematics were meshed together, and they always included God in all of their studies, something that we don't do today. All of this isn't
right, because we're not in an ancient civilization that needs to, like, be superstitious. You can go to church. I'm sorry, I'm really hot. I gotta take that off. I'm sweating.
Important that we start here before we go into the symbolism. We need to understand that a lot of ancient cosmology and ancient sciences and knowledge was stolen during ancient invasions and wars. What happened to that knowledge over the time was that it was distributed amongst certain elites. It was studied. And over the years, some of it was manifested into technology that we see today. Now this
that we see today. An iPod is not technology that we see today, sir. An iPod is technology you see 20 years ago. Ashley One Up says, take it off.
Goes into something else. A lot of people say that we get a lot of technology from UFOs.
He thinks it's real.
And aliens. When you understand that your cosmology is wrong and that it's impossible for a UFO to come from another galaxy, since galaxies aren't what you think they are. And I will be explaining this. If not in this video, you can check some of my other videos, okay? So we understand that aliens and all of these extraterrestrial creatures, they do not come to this planet from outside and what they call space. All of these creatures come from the inner earth or from the sea. All right. With that being said, we must realize that when you hear people say that we reverse engineered UFO technology, what they're really saying is that we reverse engineered ancient technology. See, what the elites have done to discredit the ancient ancestors is to link all of the teachings of the ancestors and all of the wondrous monuments that still stand the test of time today. They would rather give the credit to all of these things to UFOs or...
So this guy is a conspiracy theorist that thinks ancient alien belief is a conspiracy to make you not know about super genius ancient people who had iPods. Okay, cool. That
giants.
Tracks. That tracks.
Now that's another lecture about giants I will be going into, because giants did really exist. But let's stay on
giants on the bingo card.
On subject here. The knowledge of the ancients was corrupted by the elites to the point today where we are in awe at the great works of the ancients, but we still discredit them as fools, and we embrace our modern scientists with all of their theories. So why
giants? You mean like Scorpzilla? Exactly like Scorpzilla.
Am I saying all of this? Because the technology that's been reverse engineered is a result of years.
Oh my god, the fucking Baghdad battery. Fuck off. Gnome Pickles says it's a conspiracy nesting doll, and I just can't help but find that adorable.
Studying ancient carvings and ancient texts, ancient sacred writings, and ancient sciences that was stolen during ancient invasions. This knowledge have been in the possession of the Vatican and many elites for years, but it has only been perfected only a few years ago during our major revolutions in technology and industry. You see, it takes time to decode the knowledge of the ancestors. But instead of them telling you that this is where the knowledge come from, they seed information into society, disinformation, I must say, that aliens built the pyramids, or that aliens came up and gave us these concepts or created Teflon or these different things. And later we find on some of the ancient carvings that a lot of the technology we have today, the ancients were aware of it. And we say, wow.
I don't even know what this is supposed to be that he thinks is illustrative of something. It looks like a plant. This looks like a illustration of a plant to me.
That's a miracle that they...
Oh, he thinks it's a light bulb. Yeah, that doesn't look like a light bulb. That looks like a reed or something. Oh, it's a lotus flower? Okay.
Prophesied these
I thought it looked like a flower. I just wasn't sure what. Okay.
But there's another
or
way.
A plant. Sorry.
You can look at this. Maybe it's not a miracle. Maybe it's the fact that they didn't prophesy anything. Maybe it's the fact that the ancients had the technology first and we recreated the technology. And
nope. Gitaris says if an ancient race of people had all this tech, how the hell were they invaded and defeated by people who are presumably less advanced?
Recopyrighted it, and instead of giving the ancients credit, you have egotistical men who rather discredit the ancients and monetize all of the knowledge and sciences that you receive today. with all of that being said, we see that there is a big secret being hid from the masses. The elites never will tell us the truth. And if you think you're getting the truth in school or in the science books, you are wrong. Now, don't get me wrong. There is truth in everything. There's truth in the Bible. There's truth in the science book. But you have not been taught to seek truth. You have been trained and miseducated to regurgitate theories. So understand that most of our search for truth starts in a biased foundation, and that it starts on a foundation of complete lies that we've been given since children. I'm going to now get into this Masonic symbolism. And as I stated earlier, what we want to pay attention to is the arch and the square plane. Why do we want to pay attention to this? Because as I just stated, your cosmology is one of the basic foundations that is being...
Okay. Enough. I'm sorry, my attention span today for individual people is just so bad. Ashley One Up says, when the Star Trek Society happens, when? Earth isn't going to be the center of the galaxy, it's going to be the leper colony, because all the smart humans are going to leave, and all the conspiracy theorists and flat earthers are going to be left behind, screaming about how we were either stolen by demons, or we're just hiding underground, or something. Better to keep those people away from the wider universe.
Did you know what is living inside your body that you have no clue about, like bacteria and extremophiles and all of these little creatures, literally?
Don't extremophiles, by definition, live in extreme environments like thermal vents and shit? And, like, space? Past Lunacy says, it makes me so mad because he's not wrong about artifacts being stolen, but he's reading way too much into it. Stealing important artifacts was just a shitty practice, not a way to secretly snatch ancient Apple products.
They're just crazy. Look at them. Look at these things. These are the kind of things that live...
Yeah, tardigrades don't live in humans? I didn't think so.
...inside and on you. All right, they call them extremophiles. All right, well, guess what? If you were the size of Typhon, all right, who is this guy right here, who is the dragon in the desert. This is the size of his head and his neck. He had a red flaring eye, he had a regular neck, he had all kind of, this is exactly how he's described in the ancient texts. And if he was this big, which is this big, from here is his head, I just showed you, and his red flary eye and his throat coming all the way.
If you're not a regular on this show, this is Roger. He thinks mountains are ancient remains of giant creatures, so he thinks this mountain range is the corpse of a dragon. Gitara says, even if they did live in us, so what? I mean, we're all still here, so they're probably symbiotic. Stone Corbell says, remember when a cartoon dragon the size of the continent ravaged the world? I was asleep that day, so no.
Way down. This is the runoff of all the bloody stuff. He goes all the way across Africa, from here to here. It's over 1,100 miles long. Now, what would happen to you, to the things that live in you, which are those extremophiles? If you die, they're going to try to find a place to live, and the ocean is a good spot. So they swam through this stuff and headed into the ocean, and then they tried to find whatever they could eat out there. And a ship and a bunch of sailors was a pretty good
If
ship.
all the ground is ancient animals, what were they walking on? Don't think about it. Roger hasn't thought about it. Don't you think about it.
Out for that. Now, this is not the only dragon, but 1,100 miles long. Think about how big the creatures in his body are. That is, hundreds of thousands of times, I'm sure. I'd have to do the calculation, but you're talking about things that are just astronomically large. Tyson, who I work with, he's got membranes that he's been looking at that are 6 feet thick.
Profane Priest says, an animal that big would get square cube-lawed and collapse under its own weight. It couldn't even have the strength to move its chest to expand its lungs. Gnome Pickles says, I showed this guy's videos to a biology teacher, and she had a fit. I believe her exact words that if he was one of her students, she would would have offered her university a refund.
6 feet thick. In us, you hold it up and you can look through it like it was like a piece of glass. It's so thin. He's got them 6 feet thick between the top and the lower layer of these bilipid membranes. This is, the sizes of the things have to be considered. Now, what are those parasites going to be like? They're going to be like whales and whatever kind of other things live in all this soup that's in this creature's body, digesting stuff, just like we have bacteria and all of that, parasites and everything else on us and inside of us. They're extremophiles. They live in these salts and acids and everything else, and they break it down and do that job. Well, when the thing died, all of that stuff stopped coming through. They had to go find a place to live, and the ocean was the best they could do. That's what this whole thing is about. That's why they're all over the world. They were seen, and when they went into the oceans, bang, there they were.
Overthought says, picture you on the beach and suddenly you look up at the only section of that 11,000-mile dragon is right above you. That's a penis.
That's a penis.
Gitara says, is he saying that these giants died and the bacteria and parasites left the decaying body to become the ancestors of modern-day animals? Honestly, I'm kind of digging that as the lore to a fantasy novel or something. It's not a bad idea for, like, lore. For, like, fictional lore, that is kind of cool. I'd agree. Granite Cuttlefish says, someone gave Roger a microscope kit for his birthday, didn't they?
Today I'm going to have a look at indigenous tribes around the world and want to find out whether they are the last survivors of the reset, the previous reset, or they are just actors. So let's investigate.
This is not my world. 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 This is not my world.
The first time I started to investigate this phenomena was probably
Ashley says that Junji Ito manga about humans being stuck inside the Leviathan that got washed ashore. I haven't read that one, actually.
Around 2 years ago, when
oh my god, is that Buzz the whole video?
I got into the mud flood, and for some reason, I don't know exactly why, I started to research the indigenous tribes.
Let me see if it goes the whole thing. I'll pick something else if it is.
More about these people.
No, it stops.
Exactly. Okay. Their deaths of, you know, in the midst of the desert, in somewhere in Africa, whatever. So that's how I got into.
Yeah, he has multiple wives.
Into this and started to be interested about finding out more about these people. And so one of the first videos I watched was this: Tribe Meets White Man for the First Time, and it has 3 episodes, and I watched all of it, and I recommend you watch that as well. I'm going to link everything in the video description below on my website. Yeah.
Is he still using a Nokia brick and a CRT TV? He might. Some conspiracy theories are afraid of using smartphones because they think, you know, that they're gonna get 5G'd or whatever.
And by the way, I'm going to show you part of this video, my video on YouTube, but as usual I'm not going to show you the whole video because I just can't do the thing I usually do. I can't play this video on YouTube because I would be, you know, taken down for copyright and all the rest of nonsense, and probably I would be censored for whatever I'm going to say about these things, right? So I'm not going to show.
The funny thing about, like, conspiracy theorists who get taken down a lot for, like, misinformation on COVID or transphobia, like this guy is, he's been taken down for those things quite a bit, is that they start to think that everything they do is going to get taken down by YouTube. No, there were specific things that you do that get taken down. It's the COVID misinformation and the transphobia. It's not just anything you say. It's just the bad shit. I'm gonna move myself over here so you can see him.
Everything, and I'm not going to say everything, so if you want to watch the whole video, the full-length video, the analysis of the indigenous people and whether they are actors or real, then feel free to go to my website, and you will find the link in the video description below. So anyway, that's just about the intro, and I want to show you a couple of things that I think I can show you on YouTube. So after this, I was pretty much convinced that yes, they are just dropped down by the warden in the jungle and they are just there. Then I received an interesting comment, and the interesting comment looked like this.
I don't think that's main character syndrome.
One more thing to keep is our hair. We should never cut it. Every hair is attached to a nerve, and we need them all for our perception. All these shaven people don't have the senses they could. There's a real good article on, and there's the link. So this comment was made by
what does this person think I'm doing all day that I need hair sense?
Kashlao, and it was on my video where I talked about the different body parts and their meaning. Now, obviously that was a related thing about hair, and I was really interested to find more out about this, because interestingly, for some time I had long hair. That was in my teenage years. I was a rocker and a Jesus follower, so I wanted to be like Jesus, right? So I had a long hair. Now, for those of you who are new to this channel, I'm no longer a Christian. I left all the bullshit behind. So anyway, yeah, so let's have a look at this link. So this is the link, and this is by apparently apparel with a one eye symbol at the top of the pyramid, interestingly. And this information about hair has been hidden from the public since the Vietnam War, right? That's the idea. The truth about hair covered up since the Vietnam War. And let's read it, I would say.
Yeah, accidentally based.
So our culture leads people to believe that hairstyle is a matter of personal preference, that hairstyle is a matter of fashion and or convenience, and that how people wear their hair is simply a cosmetic issue. Back in the Vietnam War, however, an entirely different picture emerged, one that has been carefully covered up and hidden from public view. And when I read this article, I was like, so far.
You think we did this? I thought we did like a little bit of it, but then the rest was hidden, and I found the whole thing.
So good. These things are usually covered up, and it sounded so good. In the early 90s, Sally, name changed to protect privacy, was married to a licensed psychologist who worked at the VA medical hospital. He worked with combat veterans with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Most of them had served in Vietnam. An Indian reservoir. When questioned,
oh, we did look at this,
right?
Because I remember
no.
I remember. You're right. We did cover that. I apologize.
All right, I gotta.
Here's the angry flat earther guy.
And I gotta get it out again. So this may be kind of a rambler, but you know.
As opposed to.
I just kind of gotta give my overview and take up on the big picture of everything going on, and why sometimes it just drives me mad and frustrates the heck out of me. But so I guess we'll start with I'll leave a clip to a video Dave Weiss, DITRH, put up yesterday. Regardless of what you think, it's a good video, good information. And then I'll leave a link to Level Earth Observer. Did a video about the clip I want to talk about. It's several clips, the one Dave did.
I feel like Wilson from Home Improvement is talking to me right now.
Several politicians, you know, how they do compare everything they want ostracized and people to just
face reveal,
knee-jerk conspiracy theorist, flat earther.
Yeah, we'll do a bingo check after this. I don't believe we had 5G.
All those putting examples of politicians basically putting that into practice and reinforcing the programming of anyone that says flat earth must be an idiot. So this Justine Trudeau clip, this guy, man. Oh. So there's a point where he kind of says, I'm paraphrasing, that's why I'm leaving the link so you can see what he actually says, because it's, even to this day, my jaw just drops.
I assume he's insulting Justin Trudeau by calling him Justine because he's an old guy that thinks inferring someone as a lady is an insult. Ashley One Up says, how dare you disrespect Wilson like that?
Drops at the gall these people have, the projection. I mean, someone should make the next best, most powerful projector in the market. Should be called the Trudeau 5000. I mean, this guy.
Chromatic Cuttlefish says, I miss Daniel Pratt's water heater. It had more personality than he does. True.
So he starts comparing all these people. I don't know if his topic, I forget what it was, if he was his usual climate change. Absolute psychological operation. No actual
psyop
science to it.
The vast majority of scientists involved in, like, climate science agree that human-caused climate change is a thing and an existential threat to life on Earth. So you're wrong. You can't just say things. You can't just lie on the internet.
The climate change whose predictions, since they started this in the late 90s, not one of them's come true. The coasts aren't buried and in water and flood.
Have you seen the increase in extreme weather events and the ever-increasing temperature? Sir, it's happening. We're in it.
and all the stuff that was going to happen that never came to fruition because, of course, anyone that knows, again, I'm just venting, so I know I'm singing to the choir, but knows it's scientism, and that's how the New World Order takeover is going down. And what frustrates the heck out of me to this day is, well, I'll get into that later, but first let's I digress. So Trudeau, he does the equation of, if you don't believe this, you're like a flat earther, you know. And he goes on to say how flat earthers, they're not dangerous in general. Like, they're not going to run out and hurt people. But how they're dangerous is, well, of course, because we're thought terrorists.
I mean, I wouldn't use the term thought terrorist. That's weird. But, like, you are wrong, and you are actively spreading misinformation to people, which isn't good ever. Gnome Pickle says, nothing has changed. How about every summer in my area, every single year being the hottest on record for the past 5 years?
Because if you let someone express an idea that just isn't true, not that they can prove it true.
We've been to space.
But that just isn't true, that's what makes it dangerous. So that's why we have to not pay attention to flat earthers. Now, this is the guy, again, that continually fear-mongers and lies and psychologically manipulates people through guilt and shame. The climate change agenda, the transgender agenda. This is a
transgender agenda.
Hero mouthpiece. Justine Trudeau for the liberal, leftist gender movement and agenda. The very one that will tell you straight to your face, somehow with a straight face, that men can get pregnant, that men can have periods.
They can.
And that there are 70-some, or whatever number it's up to now, different genders.
Is he still doing neo-pronoun, neo-gender discourse in 2023? Lampeda says, need to put this guy in my outside pantry for a couple of days. Bore the mice away. Vast Lunacy says, baby, I don't do nothing straight.
As he lectures people about how dangerous it is to let people say things that just aren't true. The hypocrisy and projection is...
Have you guys noticed that, like, both Republicans and conspiracy theorists, which is a pretty, big overlap, but, like, have you noticed that they learned the word projection in the last year or so? So whenever you're like, you're projecting, they'll be like, no, you're projecting. They're projecting about projection. It's gotten annoying in the last, year that's happened. It's weird.
Unrivaled. So who does the world believe? This guy telling us...
Ashley One Up says, he unfortunately reminds me that trans women can get PMS. Have you experienced this? I'm not looking forward to this. I definitely have on HRT a monthly hormonal cycle that I can tell when it's here. Yes. Yeah.
How we should...
I have experienced that.
Believe people that say things that just aren't true. Who is a figurehead for the party saying men can get pregnant. Because flat earthers have no proof. Excuse me, Miss Turdo, could you show me one single solitary video of a man giving natural birth to a child?
I don't know if those people want to provide their birthing videos to you.
On this level earth we reside upon.
That is true. Baha and I's hormonal cycles are linked.
That isn't NASA CGI.
I've never had cramping issues, though. I've heard some trans women also have cramping. I've never had that. I've only had, psychological, emotional stuff.
Manipulated. I don't think you can, Justin. You know what? I can give you billions, probably, videos of women giving birth.
Yeah, he's doing the whole pretending he doesn't understand what people are talking about when we're talking about gender v sex. It is what it is.
Yet here in the United States...
This guy knows. He does a lot of research. He finds people's birthing videos online. He stares at them intently.
So people don't think the hypocritical stupid is confined to Canada. Here in the...
Oh, shit. Organic Bubbles tips $30 and says, here's to ignoring climate change and fighting the gender agenda. Well, we hit our maid outfit goal, so tomorrow I'll be wearing a maid outfit for the stream. So show up tomorrow if you want that. Thanks, Organic Bubbles. Hooray.
United States, we appoint Supreme Court justices that can't even define what a woman is. See, because...
Sir, there's a difference between gender and sex. I know you're very old, but please open your brain for 5 seconds to learn something new.
She, too, is also of the party that claims men can give birth.
Chitara says, yes, don the holy vestments of the temple.
Tell you not to believe flat earthers because they have no proof. Yet can't provide you, guaranteed, I'll bet the farm on it, one video of a man giving birth to anything.
Again, sir, you can look up trans men who have been pregnant before and have had children. I don't think they want to provide you with video of it, though, because you're a fucking crazy person demanding to see people's genitals expelling a child on the internet. Eldronder says, we appoint Supreme Court justices who the stuff Brett Kavanaugh did and the stuff Clarence Thomas does. Yeah.
Other than a kidney stone. What? So it just, and so here's where it really gets me. Like, people that,
He's just going to deny it's a man, though, and that's fine. He's going to keep saying the earth is flat, too. It is what it is. People are wrong. He's wrong.
One video I did that went all over the flat earth movement. One of the things I say in there is how I touch on deception of information is a form of control. Well, so also is omission.
Gnome Pickle says, funnily enough, one of my friends found out that he is a trans man around the same time his partner at the time found she's a trans woman. So a woman got a man pregnant, and that man gave birth to a kid who demands I teach her to sword fight. Fun.
Of information. And this is why I get so irritated and frustrated with certain channels that will talk all kinds of truth, even dance around the truth of our level earth and that the globe is complete nonsense, but won't really come out and say it, knowing how well these people, obviously the size of their audiences shows they contact with people.
And Marcus Drake says, a man giving birth to anything. Sir, would you like to see what I, a cis dude, give birth to after too much Chipotle?
After seeing how, after the entire fiasco for the last 2 years we just went through and still are dealing with the effects of, they busted that down to the bare bones. All these truth channels, right? They dug into everything, how, you know, how the, I don't want to say it because I don't want to deal with YouTube and their
say it, bitch,
algorithm crap anymore. But the bug, how it broke it down, how it works, and how the cure, everything about that, exposed everything. But to this day, these people cannot figure out that water has been used to verify things being level.
Scale is a mystery to these people. Chromatic Cuttlefish says, but Jesus beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Matthew 19:26. You're not denying the Bible, are you, Mr. Pratt?
For centuries.
Yes, at a local level, water looks flat and is fine for, like, determining a level in a local area, but the Earth is very, very big. So over its circumference, yes, water does indeed curve. It's just very minute across the entire surface. So for all practical purpose, for us, at our scale, it's level where we are, but it's not really, right? But for practical purposes, it is, and that's fine. We've seen Earth from space.
And they can't figure out that water has never, ever, 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 a body of water been measured to have a curvature, a surface.
Except it does.
That displays convexity or curvature on the surface without being at a static body of water at rest.
Wow, look at all that water curving over that ball Earth. Crazy. Hydrate.
Without being manipulated or acted upon by another force.
Water on Earth is being acted upon by an outside force. It's called gravity.
Never in history has any body of water been measured that anyone can verify.
I like that never has it been measured that anyone can verify. He's got to, like, couch it with all these stipulations because it absolutely has, and he knows that, but he has to just say, well, that's not been confirmed.
To display curvature on its surface.
Yeah. Dan Olson, Folding Ideas, did an experiment in his Flat Earth video where he measured curvature, or at least showed the curvature. Multiple people have done this.
And these,
or done similar experiments.
those two basic concepts.
Oh, you guys know the Bob Lindell, or Bob, whatever his name is, who's the 15 degrees per hour guy who measured the Earth spinning accidentally? You guys know that guy? Thanks, Bob. Anyone? He died. Bob Nodell, that's his name. He's fucking dead.
That prove beyond any shadow of a doubt.
No, that's not Mark Sargent.
Cannot physically live on a globe. And these people can't.
Would you look at these liquids being totally flat and level?
Can't figure that out, but they can break down the whole boogie mess we just went through for 2 years.
I don't know how he died.
And all the other truth topics that they just rip into and tear to shreds.
Was it a motorcycle accident, really? Was he an anti-helmet person? He strikes me as kind of an anti-helmet person. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case. You can die in a motorcycle wearing a helmet. Just wondering.
And exposed to pieces, but they just can't figure out that water's level and it's never been shown to be anything other, like curved. And so, just like deception of information is a form of control, omission of information is a form of control. That's the truth. If you know something to be true and you keep it from people, that's the same as lying. It's omitting information. Why would you want to do that? Because you obviously want to control that person and how, at the very least, of how they think about something. So, why do these channels to this day, either they are dumb as rocks, and again, from history of their work, we know that's anything but the case. So what logical conclusion is any reasonable, skeptical person to come to other than, for some reason, be it for some personal gain, one way or another? I'm not saying monetary, but I think that's a big part of it. Or fame, or not wanting to take ridicule. I mean, what other conclusion are we supposed to come to other than for some reason you are to this day manipulating your audiences by not exposing and proclaiming this truth to them? What else are we supposed to think? So that's not a truther to me. Someone that withholds and omits information that, again, if you're attending conferences with flat earthers, so you can figure out all the other stuff, expose all the government stuff, all the political charades, but you still just can't figure out water's always flat and level. You still believe in this? Everybody, Fauci lied to you.
He's just old man ranting at this point.
Never proven any.
Let's look at the bingo card. Who boy, Illuminati Freemasons. PSYOP. Hannah flirts with Baja. Giants. Word salad. Adrenochrome. God damn, this is a lot of them. LGBT, LMNOP. Clintons. QAnon claimed as a source. Aliens. I think that's it for this page. Nah, no idiot thinks they're a genius. That has to include them, like, saying everyone else is an idiot, basically. Ashley One Up says, if mental health in the US wasn't a dumpster fire, how much would your content be decreased by? At least 50. The problem with, like, mental health care is even if it's available, some people have, like, mental health things that make it hard for them to even seek help, so, you know. Alright, let's see what's on this page. 5G. Yep, 4chan, 8chan. That is correct. False flag operation. Tartaria. Weather control. Population control is a motive. Ancient wisdom. Flat Earth. Accidentally based. And I think that's it. Bingo. History chick, let me see your card. I shall take a look. Giants, Tartaria, Free Space, QAnon, PSYOP. You win! You win. Okay, I will write your name down, History Chick, for winning. Gift it to a rando? Okay. Let's see who gets it. Round and round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. Mad Pac-Man gets the random gift sub. Cool beans. Cool beans. Cool beans. Cool beans. Cool beans. Cool beans.
Release all that you think of as true. Relax the mind and ask the question, do I truly understand what this reality is?
In order to firmly grasp the ideas presented, this is what you will need to know. Mainstream history, alternative histories like Atlantis, Lemuria, religious doctrines, the history of the occult and astrotheology, and the history of Rome and Christianity.
There's been a lot of hype around the Tartaria conspiracy lately, and naturally there's a lot of confusion surrounding it. This video is really an attempt to develop the theory further. So, let's type in Tartaria in Google and see what we find. If you look on Wikipedia, the first result, it will show you a map from the 1800s, 1806. Keep that in mind for later. Now on this map, Tartary is just an Asiatic landmass, with city names that are based off Mongolian or Chinese. And where we see Russia and China, this is where Great Tartaria once existed. Let me show you a map from the 1600s. Let's notice how this is much different. We see Great Tartaria. And let's also notice the etymology change of all the cities. It's no longer a Mongolian empire, it's something else. Maybe pre-Russian?
People used to make shit up on maps for places they didn't know about. So they just fucking called the whole thing Tartaria and made up a bunch of shit.
Also known.
Someone did a whole video on this. Was it Mia? Was Mia the one on YouTube who did the YouTube video on Tartaria explaining all this?
Is this? California is an island?
Yeah, they were incorrect. Mia Mulder did a video all about this and how Tartaria became a thing for conspiracy theorists.
Very interesting. Wikipedia's explanation is it's a messaging error. Considering how high of an art cartography was, I find that hard to believe.
What? You think people didn't make mistakes in cartography? Have you seen any old map ever? Like, I'm not saying it wasn't impressive. Like, cartography was, obviously, like, necessary and helpful, regardless of the inaccuracies. But to say that cartographers and surveyors of the past didn't make mistakes is wild. Gnome Pickles says, you shouldn't believe anything you read on the internet. Now check out this map I found on Wikipedia.
As far-fetched as the following information may seem, I'm going to ask you just to follow down this path. Some people are saying that Tartaria is
Some people are saying... No, you're saying it. You're saying it. Stop trying to distance yourself from the point you're making.
kind of distraction. But from what? And is this theory any more of a distraction than Netflix and video games? Do you honestly feel satisfied with the history they teach you in schools and churches?
It's not about satisfaction. I think it's accurate, or at least relatively accurate. It's certainly biased. All history is biased, and I've learned a lot more outside of school, things that I didn't know in school, especially, like, grade school. I learned more in, like, college and stuff. But, like, the idea that, like, it's not satisfying to me, therefore it's fake, is so ludicrous. That's not how facts work. Reality doesn't have to personally satisfy you. It's reality. You know what they say, life is always very fair and satisfying and lasts forever. Hooray!
I understand that most of you are believers of evolution and Big Bang Theory, but let's just explore a very different alternative to conventional history. I don't know everything about the past. I wasn't there. Nobody was, as far as we know.
There were people in the past. They're just not here, because they're dead. Tea with Goblin says, I often listen to Hannah streams while getting ready for work. It's a great way to start my morning, but all the conspiracy bat shittery often influences my outfit choices. Wearing these occult overalls today in the tribute to the queer Illuminati brethren. Let's take a look. Oh, those are dope. Those are honestly really great. I love those. I don't think I could pull off overalls, but I like that pattern. I'm sure it looks excellent on you. Where was the video we were watching?
Science likes to think it has all the answers, yet scientists still can't tell us how consciousness came to be, the connection between consciousness and matter, why the hell we're all here.
Okay. And you think because science doesn't have an answer to, like, why consciousness or how consciousness, you think that means what?
My goal is just to get the message out there to those who are genuinely curious about what's going on in this life. It's an understatement to say that humanity is lost.
It's been pointed out by many historians that humanity is much older than we have been told. It's possible that civilization goes back millions of years.
No. Homo sapiens aren't that old. So that's impossible.
And we could be in some kind of cycle. What's clear is, advanced civilizations did exist in the past. If the monuments don't convince you, consider the myths and legends about gods having to deliver culture-important knowledge.
Okay, those are myths.
There are hundreds of books written on Atlantis because it was a real place.
No, it was not a real place. It was a metaphor that Plato came up with. Wait, was it Plato? Was it Socrates? No, Atlantis was Plato, right?
The first story we really hear of this is from Plato.
Yeah, the Republic.
And in Critias is telling Socrates a story.
JP Black says, of course map makers of the past never made anything up. That's why we always chart sea voyages to avoid the mermaids and sea serpents.
He says, look, Socrates, I got this crazy story that this wise sage named Solon told my great-grandfather, who was also named Critias. And my grandfather told me the story when I was 10. My grandfather started by saying how wise Solon was and that he was one of the wise 7 sages. And he, Grandfather Critias, was going to some poetry youth meetup, and there Solon, his teacher, is trying to tell a story about the greatest achievement that the Athenians ever did. But he says, and which ought to have been the most famous, but through the lapse of time and the destruction of the actors, it has not come down to us. I thought Socrates was an Athenian. Socrates is hearing this story from a young man named Critias. Critias is relaying a story he was told at age 10 by his grandfather, who when he was young was told this story by Solon the Sage.
I like Professor
Confusing,
Dave.
right? Well, it's meant to be. So Solon is now starting the story saying basically, yes, we did something really great, but you don't know about it, young Critias, because these actors have been destroyed through a lapse of time. Okay, Solon continues telling Critias about a certain district in Egypt named Sais, and how they had a great connection with the Athenians at this time. So Solon was taking a trip there, and he was received with great honor, and he started a conversation with the priest of Egypt on past human antiquity, or basically ancient history. Now it says that Solon and none of the other Hellenes had nothing to say on the matter, and I think when Plato was writing this, he was implying that the priests didn't really want to talk about it that much. They were just listening to see what they knew, and at the end of the conversation, they didn't know anything, the Hellenes. They were clueless. So it goes on to say that on another occasion, Solon asked the priest again. And here is what I'm trying to show you guys. Solon was trying to pester the priest. It was like trying to show the priest his outstanding knowledge so the priest would talk about what they knew. Why? Because Solon knew that the Egyptians' priests were much, much wiser. So Solon tried to impress them, talking about his knowledge of Pharonius, who is called the first man, and about Niobe. Now I'm going to take a little break here because I want to show you something. What does this have to do with Tartaria? Well, let's look up Pharonius and look up Niobe. This is basic Greek mythology, just the old gods, right? Let me remind you what we're talking about here. Solon is trying to tell the priest of Egypt, hey, this is my esoteric knowledge and how it pertains to ancient history. Plato is literally showing you in play format that Solon was one of the sages of the Greeks who knew the secrets of their mythology and how it pertains to ancient cultures. Niobe was the daughter of Tantalus, and according to Wikipedia, Tantalus was a Greek mythological figure, most famous for his eternal punishment in Tartarus. I'm going to tell you what the secret of Pharonius and Niobe is, but let's take this one step at a time. Let's continue. So Solon tells the priest, yeah, look, here's the secrets of Pharonius and Niobe.
Okay, I'm over this guy now too. They just go on and on and on.
Perhaps one of the more controversial aspects of the entire Tartarian theory is the use of antiquitech on the top of these old worlds.
Antiquitech. Oh, they came up with a little portmanteau. Antiquitech. I kind of like that. That's fun to say. Antiquitech, 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 antiquitech. That's fun for your mouth.
World buildings, but the more
Antiquitech, 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 antiquitech. Profane Priestess says, according to anthro-historical consensus, human society is 6,000 years old or thereabouts. At least if you define civilization by the existence of things like laws, writing, and complex culture that all originates in Mesopotamia. If you just want Homo sapiens to exist, you're looking about 300,000 years. I thought it was 200,000 years.
the more I look into it, the more plausible it seems. For those that...
Is that the Honest Trailers voice guy? It is his voice, kind of. This person stole the voice and uses an AI thing to use the voice, even though it's not their voice.
may be new to this theory. Antiquitech refers to the method of
Like, if you can listen, you can hear. It's, you know, it's artificial. It's not bad. It's a good artificial voice, but, like, it's artificial.
generating electricity through architectural means. When we see things such as tall towers with aerials and onion-domed roofs on old-world buildings, these are theorized to have once harnessed energy from the atmosphere. Much
Nope, that's not how that works.
like Nikola Tesla's free energy tower.
Pretty sure that's not what that tower did. Pretty sure that was for him theorizing about the transmission of wireless energy, not, like, gathering it from the atmosphere. I could be wrong, though. I don't know a ton about Tesla.
Atmospheric energy is not pseudoscience. It is well...
I mean, it's not going to work. Wireless energy, you lose so much through the air. It's not going to happen.
known. For every meter you go up in the air, the voltage increases by about 100 volts. The ground is negative, and the sky is positive. According to
What?
Richard Feynman, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, this etheric voltage extends for 31 miles up into the atmosphere. The reason you don't
I'm right, he was trying to do wireless power. I've seen the Prestige. I know what's up.
get a shock from this electricity in the air is because when you are stood on the ground, your body is a good enough electrical conductor so that standing on the ground, you are basically part of the ground. So there are still 0 volts between the top of your head and the ground. Similar effects happen with trees and buildings. To harness this etheric electricity, all one needs to do is connect one end of a wire to the ground and lift the other end up into the air. At 120
If you really believed that, then do this. Then patent it. Make $1 billion.
meters in the air would be 12,000 volts. Just like a person stood on the ground, the wire is an electrical conductor. So we can see that potential voltage exists some distance away from the wire. We can see the potential electricity accumulates near the top of the wire. This means
I can't watch this. I don't know electricity stuff. I'm sure the things he's saying are bullshit, but I don't know enough to debunk it. Rip headphones users. Sorry.
Hey guys, I'm a fornicator and a braggart. I guess my bragging borders on lying. So, but on the other hand, truth is more stranger than fiction. Like, the truth is, like, more crazy than I can brag about. So that's a bragging right there. But, I did a video and I talked about, you know, I made it sound like I could read people's minds, like, easy. Like, I could read anybody's mind. But, I want to tell you the full story behind that is, yeah, one day I was with my, my MOM, which is my female handler, which is my, high school sweetheart, and my live-in girlfriend in my 20s. It's all the same person. But anyway, I was hanging out with my MOM at her house, and she was, you know, I was hanging with my parents, my handlers that look like me, but they're not. I was at their house, and my MOM was making a big deal about neighborhood watch meeting. If you guys notice the neighborhood watch sign, the symbol, it's like a burglar with the line going through him, with like the red line going through him. But if you look at it above, it's a sheep with their head getting chopped off. So that's, you know, that's how my mom kicks it.
What?
One time, my mom looked out at this forest right here, and she said, one day it's all gonna be graves. Like this bitch is out for Megadeth.
I'm gonna guess that mental illness runs in his family.
That's what the war is about, man. It's about reptilians fucking killing humans.
Yeah.
But,
Mr. Whiskers says, welcome to Florida.
I wanted to talk about mind reading. So anyway, that day, she had me go to this other house and set up, chairs and shit. But I could tell it's all a fucking lie. Anyway, I got in her fucking head and I could hear her thoughts. That one day, like, I heard her thoughts at least 3 or 4 times. And demon they think upside down. They don't listen to you. They just they're so hard-headed. They just have their own agenda, you know. They're just like their own agenda, which is accomplished through lying, you know. They think in lies. Anyway, I heard this fucking bitch's thoughts, man. I was like, whoa, like, because it was already so blatantly obvious to me. I believe in the Bible and Jesus Christ, so don't let me don't get it twisted. But yeah, the Buddha, before he became enlightened, he said they became his children playing. Like, all the demons trying to run game on him, they became his children playing. The Bible says they're children of disobedience. But anyway, they are a lot like children. They're like super smart and they're super robotic children. they're like super efficient, like a fucking robot. But their joy is childish, man. They are really, really childish, and they're childish to me. But anyway, I could peep this bitch's game from a mile away, so much that I'm in her fucking head reading her thoughts. And this is my main handler.
Word salad. Yes.
And then a little bit after that, it must have been, I'm not sure, right around that time, a little bit, my main handler and my boss handler. My main handler is my MOM, my female handler that I'm talking about. And my boss handler is my DAD. but you know, he's the boss of both of us. You know, he's the handler of her. It's like a weird pimp hoe relationship. Like this bitch like really looks up to this like her pimp. You know, it's crazy. That's how demons kick it, man. They kick it like straight pedophile style. Like they all just pedophile each other and they call it good. So anyway, I was sitting down at the kitchen table with my two handlers, and my main handler, she complains that it's all coded, you know, but she says that the minions are scared of me because I can read their thoughts, you know. And that's kind of not, I don't know, maybe that's the case, but I got in her head is what happened. She didn't say that. She didn't say, oh, this fucker can read my thoughts. And then my main handler, who, for this, let's just say, if you guys have seen True Blood, the most powerful vampire in True Blood is Eric. He's at least that powerful, you know.
I've never seen True Blood. Can anyone confirm? Is Eric the most powerful vampire in True Blood, or is he a liar?
So this bitch that said it's all gonna be Graves in the future, you know, that wants to kill all humanity, she's the lesser demon, and this guy's the greater demon. But anyway, he spouts out a sentence and he says, "Oh, a dog can't read my thoughts." He said,
Yeah, I'm not making fun of this guy. I think he genuinely has severe mental illness, potentially spurred on by his parents, because, again, he seems ill, so I'm not going to take, you know, everything he says at face value. It's possible that these are delusions that he's having. But, like, kind of sounds like his mom also has mental issues that may have been passed down. Very sad.
Basically, he called me a dog 4 sentences in a row, and the one I caught was, oh, a dog can't read my thoughts. And, you know, so that's kind of the story of my mind reading. And I have read a lot of books. Not a lot. I've read 3 books on neuro-linguistic programming. They're all kind of the same author. There's 2 guys that were authors of it. And I've read a couple not so great books on hypnotism. I've definitely sought out hypnotism a lot, a little bit. I've noticed that books on hypnotism are good books on hypnotism, like thick-ass books, are really, they're the most expensive books, you know, not including like rare books and stuff like that. But anyway, I've looked into that kind of stuff, and
Eric is nowhere near the most powerful vampire in True Blood. Good to know.
There is something to, like, when their eyeballs go up, like I can read I can like grab their information, you know. But I guess it's not like so literal. But I don't know if I can read that demon's thoughts, and they guard their thoughts, you know, like they don't even listen to you. They don't even think. You like if I make somebody engage with me, then I can read their thoughts, you know. But they don't even engage, you know. They're just so hard-headed. So
I have no idea what's being blurred.
But I'm like Mowgli in the Jungle Book. I was raised by snakes, and I don't have any human. Looking back, you know, all my human friends, they get chased off, you know. So I don't know if, like, I've dealt with super demons all my life, and if I can get inside their head, I can probably get inside somebody else's head, like, way easier, you know. So that's me bragging and saying that, like, I really can get inside people's heads. But
okay, I think I'm gonna call it a night. I am exhausted by the nonsense. So as you can see, we hit the $200 tip goal for the month, so tomorrow will be a maid stream. So that'll be fun. I'll have the maid outfit on. I'll stream tomorrow, so if you want to come hang out for that. Maybe I'll have you guys send me videos. I'll be in a maid outfit and I'll just have to watch whatever you guys send me. I don't know. Let's see who we're gonna raid. I'm so tired and hungry. I love you too, Mr. Blast. Alright. Have a good night, everyone. Yeah, send videos on Discord. Join the Discord! Have a good night, everyone. You're cool and stuff. I need food in my belly. So bad. Alright, good night everyone. Thanks for hanging out. You guys are cool. Vast Lunacy and everyone else who like donated for tooth stuff. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.